Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar.
Welcome to the party.
And Simon.
I thought he called the dog Cheat Code.
I've done that forever. Yeah,
Name
cheat
for
code.
a dog. Cheat Code.
My cocaine.
Yeah, Michael Caine. And Simon.
Hello.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernon's. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. Come on, new patrons. I know he's busy on his typewriter over there.
He's like 3 inches from the screen. That is fucking new technology that only Kamar possesses.
Welcome back
when
to
are
the
they
show,
going to do
guys.
that?
I'm having such a
by
great
the
time.
way?
The holographic screen.
Just so you can be
Patreon
above
is the
your
only
screen.
way
You don't have
to actually support the show. It's really important you guys get on because we have some momentum going. And me and Matt were talking about the hardest about making $1 million is like the first 10,000. That's real. And so we've got some real momentum going. So keep on joining. You get the post, Joe, the show after the show. If you can't do that, like and subscribe, clip it up, get it on the social media, tickle the algorithm. This week we give a shout out to Jeremy Flaherty.
Yeah, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Jeremy.
What if that is from the Flaherty Empire?
Which empire is that?
Nephew of Joe, the Flaherty?
Who are the Flatteries?
You guys never seen Happy Gilmore?
Oh, sure.
Hey, we got him. That was not a
I
good
don't know
impression
what this
at all.
guy's talking about. Are you trying to be Shooter
Flaherty.
McGavin?
Joe Flaherty.
Joe Flaherty. Joe Flaherty.
Isn't that an actor?
Joe Flaherty.
Is that an actor?
No, I thought he was a golfer.
I don't know.
Chat.
Let Kamar know so he can
Shout out to
rewrite
Jeremy
his
Flaherty.
joke.
And then we have Michael Joseph. It sounds very
Michael.
Michel.
biblical, eh?
Michael
Yeah,
Joseph.
you
sounds
can't get
biblical.
more biblical than
Jeremy
that.
Flaherty.
That's
and
Jesus, one
Michael
of
Joseph.
Jesus's aliases. Michael
Just-
Joseph.
I mean, momentum is what we're talking about. And a big shout out to Carla. I think Carla's coming back to the
Carla.
Thank you so much, Carla.
Shout
We
out.
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much, everyone, past and present. Yeah, just so grateful.
You want to go over the guest list, Kamar? So we can-
The name, by the way, sorry, of my new thing I just invented, the being able to hover above your keyboard.
yeah,
Jazz hands.
I like that.
Yeah. Patent pending. Copyright.
Obviously, yeah.
Well, it was a tumultuous week, of course, with a lot of stuff to talk about. And so Joe had to have the guest on of the day. This week we had on...
What is wrong with this guy?
I got scammed on the internet, and I'm unsure about anything.
Did you
in
give
life.
money to a Nigerian prince? Did they find a relative of yours living in Somalia?
Did someone tell you about that?
No, did that really happen?
No.
Yes.
Shut up.
I just saw this post, and it was like my dad's got to go in the home, and we got to make some room. So it's like a 2009 Camry, $2,000. I just got to go. I just need a deposit because it's a super cheap price, but it's got to go. So I
No.
ask him for his email address, send him $200, like a quick deposit. You know, like I'm serious about this. I just got to work around some things that get me the 600 there, but I want the car.
No.
And I send it, and he goes, I don't see it. And then the guy, it's a weird conversation where you're desperate to get a thing going. And then he goes, I've been hacked. And I was like, who's been hacked? So I call the guy up, and I go, is there a car for sale? He goes, no, there's no fucking car for sale. I've been hacked. Why'd you send money? And I'm trying to send another $600 to this guy, and it gets refused by the grace of the Jesus.
Yo.
And I'm like, no, but
I think these are the things you need to keep to yourself.
And this is, and
I
you
love
want
your-
to be my latex salesman.
I love your honesty. I do.
where is the car? He goes, there's no fucking car. He goes, why would you send money?
He
to-"
asked you that?
Yes.
So this guy who just scammed you started berating you.
No. The guy got hacked.
Isn't that the guy who scammed you?
No.
Well, how are you sure of
a
this?
friend of ours
Yeah.
Hold on a
posted
second.
this.
Posted a car for sale.
Posted the whole song
Now
and
I'm
dance
understanding better.
about
I got you.
this clearance sale they were allegedly having. Okay, do you understand that?
A friend of
understand. Like
ours
you.
posted that.
It'd be like you doing it. You had all this stuff you had to go, estate sale.
I'm selling a Camry.
You would never do that.
Selling a camera.
So
Is that what- that's what you're
I
saying?
messaged him. I said, is the car still available? And he goes, yes. So I said, I can send you $200 right now. I'll send you the rest this afternoon.
It's the guy you knew.
Well,
That's what
It's
he-
me.
it's on Messenger.
Okay.
Yes, Simon. The person that he thought he was dealing with was a person he knew. That person that he knew had been hacked by someone else.
In mid-conversation, he goes, I've been hacked. But I didn't know if it was as we were doing this or the whole... Somebody else was talking to me as well.
Yeah, I'm going to let this go because this makes for terrible fucking
terrifying.
podcasting, but I still don't understand.
That's
Just
fine.
leave it at that.
It is
fine.
terrifying. It's terrifying.
It's terrifying that you actually got had. I think
Yes,
that's the
in like 20
scariest part.
seconds and how people are doing this and how often it happens. It's really...
So there was no car.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time
Even
keeping up here.
after the guy yelled at me, I was like...
Kamar's still like, but there might be a car, right? There's a chance there's a car.
Are you sure you're not selling a Camry?
Because through this fast transferring of money stuff, I started making plans to do with the car.
Oh my God, Kamar was already going on tour. Who is this? Now it's funny. Who?
Kamar's name in the car. Your name will be Brenda. You will be my home now.
He's gonna start making videos. You know those people who live in their car
He's like
videos.
he's like Fed smoker.
They're like, have you seen some of those videos, Matt? Where it's like just a guy who
Yeah, and he
lives,
just like
in
lives in a
his,
Walmart parking
in
lot.
his
Yeah,
like
stealth
Subaru
camping they call it. Yeah.
Outback or whatever, and he's like, it's so comfortable in here. I just fold this seat back, and this is where I keep all my dishes. Yeah, but where do you breathe?
As I was trying to send the other $600, I was just thinking, I can't wait for Simon to see me pull up on Sunday with this.
I really would have showed up, and he wouldn't have been there.
Okay, so the good news is you learned a very valuable lesson for the small price of $200.
It was horrible though, man. You're like, oh my God, like you think you know something, but
But I don't even understand how you're putting a deposit down on a car that you haven't seen.
I don't know how you're saying this on the
good to be
podcast
true.
where you're trying to get patrons. These people are going to send us their money just to know that you're sending it off frivolously to someone.
what better reason?
The Nigerian princes of the world need to get fed too.
Well,
Matt.
I hope his family's doing well or something. But imagine at the end if you're doing that on a global scale, how they're doing it, whatever they're doing.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of fucking dummies out there.
I mean, yeah, you need to hit one person a day, right? If you can successfully fish one $200 rube a day,
And what
that's a
scares
fucking.
me-
And he wanted to give another 600.
Oh,
like
Simon?
it wasn't
Yeah,
stopping there.
Simon.
The guy would have said, "No, you know what? Another guy just emailed me $1,500," and Kamar would have been like, "Yo, I'm gonna
the
give you
bidding
all
war.
my money. This is the fucking keys to my kingdom.
I swear to God.
My bank codes.
I swear to God, that's how scary
do you
this
need
is.
my SIN
No.
number?"
I swear to God.
Oh my God, that's unreal. Come
I
on.
did not have the money to send him originally because it was my PayPal. So I transferred it. And then that takes a period of time. So it's like, I'm just waiting on this. He goes, oh, I take PayPal. I swear to God, had we started off at PayPal, I would have given him all the money. I swear to God. It's just like,
Had we started off at PayPal, I would have given him all my money.
magic beans. What's his name?
Magic Jack. That's his name.
That's,
and the
my
beanstalk.
middle name. It's a curse.
It
like
makes
you said-
And
it
you
makes
told me,
a
you told me in the blazer, you sat out there in the blazer straight face when I was like, Blazer Kamar doesn't get scammed by Hotep Jesus. You looked me dead in the eyes and you were like, yeah, Matt, Blazer Kamar. You weren't wearing the blazer during that whole.
You know what? I never thought about this before because Jack ends up pretty good in that story. You know what I mean? Jack and the Beanstalk.
I don't remember how it ends. He goes up the
He
beanstalk.
saves the day. He cuts the beanstalk down. He saves the goose and the princess. He cuts the beanstalk down, and the giant falls to his death. End of story.
Oh, so the moral is actually take a chance.
Well, he's quite a rube. Like, think about it.
He's
He
kind of a
trades
Forrest
the
Gump.
cow for the magic beans.
Yeah.
Like, this kid's
His
a
family's
dummy.
guy. He's a moron.
He's a fucking
but
dummy.
the magic beans grow beanstalk, which leads to riches.
Yeah, I know. It's all glossed over because it happens to work out for him.
Well, no, I
You
think the
know what
story
I
goes
mean?
on further. They use the beanstalk for hemp, and his family becomes hemp barons in the land, and they actually buy counties.
And that's for sure. You know that trope in movies where everyone realizes the rich kid's an asshole and sort of respect.
Yeah.
That doesn't actually happen in real life.
No.
People.
No, that
say,
guy becomes a
"Fuck
CEO,
it, I'll
yeah.
sell you out because he's rich and you're a bum. Back to the show.
Don't worry,
for
Simon,
tuning
you've
in.
lost. Everything's a loser. Don't bother looking.
22-27, Adrian Lapalucci.
I thought we were starting off with
Followed by 22-28, Josh Dubin.
yeah, I see what he's doing.
Followed by 22-29, Jeff Dye. And then we finish up the week with 22-30, Evan Hafer.
Not a great week. Not my favorite week.
You know, got to warm down after the victory lap.
I mean, I will say that it was actually no. He shoehorned politics into every single episode this week.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know when there's everything's changed. As we talked about when he switched from whatever platform, YouTube, to most of them, to Spotify, that was a titanic shift. I think we can all agree. I know you're not nodding your head, but I think you agree.
It's an audio fucking format for the most part.
But the fact that he is
fucking guy.
So stupid.
best friends with the president of the United States. Like, what happens in 2 years if Trump does something? Like, he can't say, I wonder why he's doing that. You can just call him. It's so weird. I don't think we've ever had a
Are you
relationship.
talking about Joe?
I'm talking about Joe, yeah.
So them hugging at the UFC was hilarious. Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah, I saw it all. Like, get over here, you, like, my little guy or
I don't
whatever.
know if you're agreeing with me because you're not nodding, so I'm having a hard time
you're
keeping
making
up
fun
with
of
the.
me.
No, I'm being serious.
I rate the week at 2. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, it was pretty boring. I'll mimic that sentiment.
I'll give it 2.5.
What a dick.
No, that's perfect.
Well, it's good
fine.
to see some feminine
Little bit of
energy
parody.
out there. And it's interesting because this is her second time. Oh, no, we'll get to her. We'll start off
Save
with,
that joke for later.
yeah. And I think I
Don't
burnt
want
it.
to burn it in the intro.
Thanks for tuning in, guys, to the biggest chump in them all. 22-28, Josh Dubin.
You called him a
jumping of them
champion.
all.
No, me. Champion.
Champion.
The Josh Dubin
Trumpian or
is no
chumpian?
champion. He's a champion of the people.
Yeah.
Returning. I thought this was an interesting episode because it had a really somber tone to it because everyone's initial reaction to Sheldon, the fellow there that
Who allegedly
Allegedly.
cut that dude's head off.
cut the dude's head off. What, do you guys remember our reaction?
Yeah, I texted you right away. I was
It's
like,
ridiculous like how this could discredit and everything, you know, as far as it takes to.
I like that they at least addressed it right away. That Joe was like, might as well get the elephant out of the room. We brought a guy.
Very un-Joe-like.
We
to
brought a
address
guy
it
on
right
here.
away.
He probably, and I like how Joe, like, he did say allegedly eventually, but he was like, judging by the video footage I saw, and I mean, I agree with him.
Well, Joe pretty much was like rooting for the guy at some points, it seemed.
For Sheldon to get off.
No, just like, I totally get it. He was in prison and he came out and now he had to chop that dude's head off, you know?
No, I think Joe was trying to be like, listen, I've never been to jail. I can't imagine. Like, imagine you got raped the whole first year you were in there by this guy. Like, I would definitely cut some fucking heads off.
Is that a possibility?
Yeah, it is.
A little, how did Kamar put it earlier? Ass buggery.
Yeah. I mean, he even said that he threatened the guy's kid. He had that slash on his face that might have been from this guy. I mean, that's all hearsay. We don't fucking know shit. I wasn't there. Thank God.
The cutting of the head off, I could understand murder, Matt.
Well, no, I think he murders him and then he's trying to dispose of the body. I don't think while the guy was alive, he was actively sawing his head off.
No, I don't think that either. I think, like, you know, when most people are trying to dispose of a body, they wrap it in a carpet, throw it in the trunk, and drive out to the Pine Barrens.
Yeah, but in his mind, he's like, well, that's too obvious. So instead, I'm going to get a blonde wig, dress up like a woman.
I'm going to eat some livers. I'm just assuming that he ate some of it.
Either way, I was glad they immediately...
Allegedly.
I was glad they immediately addressed it. That was nice.
So he wanted to make sure that that was understood, that he lacked some credibility because of that event.
I'm nodding for you, Kamar.
I disagree that he lacks credibility, thoth he was the one guy...
No, he doesn't. We all agree.
Yeah.
He was just getting it out of the way.
Yeah. It was a small stain. If you weren't like... If you don't watch or listen to the show and you just see the clip, oh, Joe Rogan brought on some guy that cut off a head. Yeah, a little bit of a... And I could see why Josh Dubin went into a dark place.
Do you feel like with the situation of even this conversation, is it making a difference?
Well, like you just finished saying, now it feels like Joe has a direct line to the White House. So Joe could now just be like, have you guys heard of the Ohio 4? And Trump could just immediately, I mean, not starting in January, Trump could just immediately go, I'll put someone on it.
I mean, what...
As I said before, yeah, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, what an amazing thing for a legacy president. If you're just trying to make, so you go out looking as great as possible, that you just start pardoning all these wrongfully accused people. Like, I don't see a downside to it.
No, I don't either. But it usually, listen, most pardons go unnoticed. Like, Obama pardoned like 2,000 people on his way out, and I doubt you could name one of them.
No, but most of them were his friends and his family. So
no, but we don't know that. My point is like, okay, well, Trump could easily do this.
There was a big one for Dave Smith, which was Ross Albright, I think.
Yeah, the guy that started Silk Road.
Silk Road. Dave was very adamant about that. But yeah, just this and
well, to me, like Snowden's the simplest one.
Snowden.
If you're really like a clean the swamp, I care about America first, then the first thing you should do is be like this great American.
You have to reward that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Show other Americans, hey, listen, you tell us about ass buggery, as you put it in the government, and we're going to reward you with not sending you to Russia forever.
No, for sure. Both him and David Grush need to be rewarded for their bravery.
You're so funny.
I'm being serious.
Oh, I know you're being serious. Kamar, is that it? What else?
Are you okay there?
Oh, no, I was just... No, that's very deep what you're discussing there. It'd be interesting had it been on the table at the time, Julian Assange. I mean, he had been freed since, but had he still been locked up, as a question asked JD Vance or Trump, who were both on the show.
Is he free? JD Assange?
He's back in Australia. Yeah, he's freer.
Okay. So he's walking around Australia.
I don't think come to America or something, but maybe that part on the table.
It's a kind of you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here scenario.
And then so not only does he knows Tulsi Gabbard. Remember we used to sit around here and imagine she could be one of these people, and they want her touted as the head of all intelligence.
Yeah.
You're aware of that?
Yeah, it's so crazy.
It's so Joe would be best friends with the head of...
Okay. We're already there, though. What are we doing? We've been there for the last 10 years. Like,
and RFK, like, he used to be addicted to heroin. And he was our guy. But imagine him getting the votes for the position, and things come around, and he's also a friend of Joe and the president in charge of that.
Stop.
What's going... Like... all Josh Dubin's cases, like you said, should be a text message away from Mr. Vance or whoever. And Matt Gaetz, it's so crazy.
Hold on, Matt Gaetz. That's a problem.
That's a problem.
It's so crazy.
That's a
Matt
problem.
Gaetz is
It's
a
so
big
cra-
problem.
No, but-
Tulsi, yay.
yeah, there's
RFK Jr., yay. Gates is a problem.
Like, let me
Is it a problem?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a
hold on.
problem.
Let me put it to you this way, Kamar. I didn't take grade 9 civics in the U.S. We don't have civics class. I don't know the exact inner workings of their government. I am pretty sure that the attorney general is like the highest lawyer in the land.
Yep.
I get that Trump doesn't like Ivy League schools. I understand that. He feels that there's some capture there, right? So we can immediately wipe off 7 law schools right off the bat. What number law school do you think Matt Gaetz graduated? And keep in mind, I just want for listeners, for listeners, no, of course he graduated law school. You have to. I just want listeners to keep in mind, I haven't graduated law school. I'm a useless piece of shit. I'm not trying to shit on Matt Gaetz as a person. That'll come later. What number law school do you think he graduated from?
The 50th in the country.
Well, it's a little better than that. Like the 35th rated.
Okay.
So, no, but my point is,
It started at
That's
the
how
bottom.
you had to go through that many liberal universities to get to.
Started at the bottom. Now we're here.
I just,
No, it's a problem. I was listening to some of the speeches this guy has given.
Yeah, he's a
like,
he's
firecracker.
a total piece
no,
of
no,
shit.
no.
Yes, yes.
This isn't like JD Vance.
no.
You know what I
No,
mean?
no.
This guy's a fucking twat.
This guy will reveal
Oh, Matt Gaetz
aliens.
fucking.
Allegedly.
But, I mean...
I know you're going to say trumped up charges, but he nearly got charged with trafficking people.
I believe he is from Florida, so that's just sort of goes to the territory.
Okay.
Just like our deputy prime minister is a reporter. Like, people are in positions that if you dig into it, go, there's no reason for this person to be in that position. It's really just is he, you guys saw Billions? He is who Chuck was, right?
Yes.
Oh, but that's just for New York,
That's
not
just
for the
for-
whole
yeah,
country.
yeah, that's
yes,
what-
yes,
no,
my bad, my
that's,
bad.
He's who.
I watched Billions, but I don't know who you're talking.
But what's so interesting is like some of those suggested appointments, and it ties back to Josh Dubin because of the justice system. He would be involved in these clemencies if it was Matt Gaetz. But I've heard people say that he's doing it just to test somebody, the Senate or the Democrats or whatever. Like some of them won't go through. They don't all go through. I don't know. In any event, Joe was so much more arm's length about the running of the country and everything the day before.
3 years ago, Joe was like, "I'm not getting involved ever again," and now
I'm a
Joe's
cage fighter.
almost like the head of the podcast cabinet. You know what I mean? Like it's fucking.
Dude, there's
Not almost.
there's going to be a war. They're going to have to like solve Israel Palestine, and Donald Trump is going to meet with his most trusted advisors, Joe Rogan and Dana White. Like, this is insane. Oh, and throw in Steve will do it in there, and they're going to put their heads together, and they're going to figure out the best way to solve this Middle Eastern conflict.
Steve will do it's like Trump. Listen, give me $4 billion. I'm going to go on stake.com. We're going to play the chicken across the road game. We'll solve all the world's problems.
The easiest way to any ruler's heart, I'm sure, is a souped up Maybach. Steve will do it, knows exactly what he's doing.
Just for whatever's sake, that's interesting. That's something Joe has steered clear from is the Nelk boys.
the Nelk boys, yes, yeah.
Is that interesting?
It
He's
is.
great friends with Dana.
He's
he
brought,
likes
and he's,
guys that do stuff.
he's
Okay, I
brought
get what you're saying.
everybody
Yeah, yeah.
else famous on.
in
Why
the
wouldn't
sphere.
he? Like Logan Paul has been on.
No, he's never been
No,
on.
Logan Paul's
Oh,
never
he's
been
never
on.
been
Jake's
on.
never been on, and I know Jake never will be on.
Oh, that was fucking crazy.
Well, that was
We're
a big.
not-
That was
that's post Joe.
post-Joe.
Sorry,
We're going
I
to talk
don't
about
wanna
that.
Step
right,
on your
post-Joe.
on your precious toes.
But just
or should I say Joe's?
with anyone like Josh Dubin,
Comedy.
anyone like Josh Dubin, it's just changed so much when having a conversation with Joe and him saying, well, I wonder who could help you. Like, there's too many people he knows that are, unless all those people don't get passed and they're all like decoys or something.
No, but he has a line to the president.
Yeah,
they
okay.
hugged when at
Indisputable.
that UFC. It looked like Trump was seeing like his. Joe seemed shocked, but Trump like he was seeing his best friend.
Well, I mean, come on. The whole Joe Rogan lineup was there. His best friend Elon.
Oh, fucking Elon! Don't get me started on Elon.
All that to say that this is Josh Dubin's best chance. It's a good thing he came on and sort of acknowledged what happened because people could look at it like that.
I agree.
But dude, sorry. Go ahead. You want to say something? That's fine.
I just I don't think he gets more powerful or less powerful. The story was about a guy who lied about guys doing stuff, and then when he went to say I lied to get them off, they're like, well, if you
Yeah, they
admit
were
that
like,
you
we'll
lied,
send you to
you're
jail
going
for
to
7
jail.
years. Yeah. And they refused to give him any sort of
Is the justice blind? And I know it's a cop out, but to say that Trump was like a victim of the justice system in the same way, but people will use it. Do you know what I mean? The person at the time may think framing these 4 drug dealers for this murder is like they're guilty of something, as well as any situation where someone does something wrong.
I mean, a lot of the times the general public feels that sentiment that you just said.
Trump is such a piece of shit. I don't care if you have to trump up charges, excuse the pun, but if that stops him, then I think it's the right thing to do, which is counterintuitive to what we think is the right thing to do. Is let
I didn't mean
justice
that.
serve.
What I meant was just like in the case of drug dealers, like if you are selling drugs, then people are like, wow, you know, you probably could deserve to go to jail. Like in the case of the Ohio 4, the general public usually has that like, well, you were breaking the law.
They're
so-
not innocent outside of
Yeah.
That's like that whatever 5 there. Remember I told you that story? They're going
Central
to
Park 5.
No. They're going to break into houses.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they go into a guy's house. He kills one of the kids, and the other 4 kids get charged with the murder.
I remember.
They all go to prison. Like, and everybody's like, well, they were breaking into houses. They deserved what they got, or whatever it was. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's crazy. Anyways,
And that's America. Did you hear what happened in
doesn't
Toronto
make
just the
the
other day?
penal system.
That's America.
Sorry.
What happened in Toronto the other day, Kumar?
There was a kid had an ankle bracelet on, and
Like monitoring?
he was being monitored by 2 undercovers or plainclothes downtown Toronto, and there was a birthday party or something. So there was a bunch of people, and there ended up 100 shots getting fired in like one of those downtown Toronto alleyways. I think it was 23 people arrested. Or 60 people arrested, 23 guns, but they had those guns with the extra clips that are automatic, and this is in Toronto,
Downtown Toronto.
and
yeah.
and these weren't hardened criminals or whatever. It was someone posted one Instagram live of them all.
What do you mean those aren't hardened criminals? In what sense?
Some of these guys are a rapper who has a gun to like. Sure, some of them must be. In fact, one of the kids arrested was a 16-year-old that was wanted in a murder and something else.
So I believe that's called a hardened criminal, no?
And so those people, it's hard for them to become innocent. He is. Not everyone there, though. But they're all, what the cops said, you know, they're very diplomatic. It says, these are young individuals making really bad decisions.
So sorry, what did this have to do with the kid with the ankle bracelet?
People being...
He was being monitored by the cops.
So this would have happened if they weren't there, and who knows what would have happened. So it was a real break. And that's what the story is. Do you understand?
For the purposes of this podcast, I'm going to say yes, but we're going to have to circle back on
They're like,
this.
how
Do
did
you
they
understand?
arrest? How did these cops arrest so many kids and seize all these guns? They just happened to be there when this happened.
Okay, but the kid with the ankle bracelet,
Yeah, was at the party.
he was just at the party. He knew he was being monitored. He was there with
He
guns.
did not know. He knows he's monitored, but he didn't know there was people behind.
So
him.
he went to the party.
He went to the party. Yeah.
They said, "You're not allowed at this party. We're going in to get." Like I'm so
No,
confused.
a shootout broke out at this
Oh,
party.
at the thank you.
Despite-
amazing, and he was being monitored at the
and
time.
so they just happened to be there.
Stroke of luck. Understood.
Which
Thank
is
you.
total Canadian gangsterism. They just happen to be there.
Can't you just see all the Mounties fucking like, oh, we sure got lucky on that one.
Oh, we just happened to be riding by on horseback, and
Oh,
sure
look at
enough, big shootout.
What did I see the other day where the cops are on horseback? Oh, it's some
What was a football game and the guy got smoked? Was that it?
no, it was they were like chasing down a car on Yonge Street or somewhere.
On horseback?
I guess they were the officers on scene. It was crazy, and I was just like, these horses are such a liability at this point. Yeah. they almost get run over, and then the guy just ends up getting smoked by another cop. And
there's shit everywhere.
it just makes no. I get the bikes. I don't like it, but I get it. You know what I mean? You can get into some alleyways. You can go some places maybe you can't go on in your patrol car. The horse makes zero sense. Like, you're just being assholes at this point. Mounties and the guys in New York, like, none of it makes sense. Unless you're living in like a Western town where the roads are dirt and you can tie your horses up outside of saloons, there's no reason to have cops on horseback.
I agree. We have an agreement.
Like, if it's not a sheriff,
Yeah.
they shouldn't be out there on a horse.
It's true.
Yeah, it makes sense in like Montana or somewhere. If
Yeah,
you
we're
gotta
talking
get
about
on
city living.
Yeah,
city living.
yeah.
No point for a fucking horse.
I was just, oh my God. Speaking of horseback. So the newest season of Yellowstone started, minus
No Kevin Costner.
no Kevin Costner. The first episode, just spoiler alert.
Don't worry.
No, but for everybody
Yeah.
out there too,
Yeah.
they kill off Kevin Costner's
No.
character.
Well,
Well, he's not
What do
on
you-
the show anymore.
what do you want them to do?
stupid.
You're supposed to say spoiler.
I'm gonna just quit this podcast.
You're fired.
you're fucking.
Where were we?
We'll be right back.
What a piece of garbage.
What was I talking about?
Kevin Costner.
Oh, yes, right. Yellowstone. So Yellowstone minus Kevin Costner. He dies. Fucking Beth. The worst. You know how there's always a character on a show? It's always a woman and she's just the worst and you hate her so much.
What a role.
And every time she comes on the screen, you're
Yeah,
just
you're
like
angry.
enraged.
Yeah.
Example.
Skylar White.
Skylar White. Another example, Matt. That wife from the zombie show.
Oh, Walking Dead.
Cheats on her husband right away, like
Second
16 minutes into
Lot
the
lizard.
apocalypse.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Lot lizard, he says under his breath.
the wife in Ozark,
Yeah.
like they just, it's in every one, man. Carmela Soprano, like you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, they know how to make us hate women.
Yeah.
The succubus.
She is one of those women, Beth.
Mm-hmm.
And she puts on this performance. Like, imagine her reacting to her daddy dying. It's so over the top. And I'm like, this is insane.
Wait a second. Did
And
she
yet
get emotional? Because she should be like stoic.
she is.
No, she's a daddy's
She's
girl.
over. It's ridiculous.
Did she pull her tit out?
No.
Yeah, did she fuck the coffin?
But this is crazy.
It's just Beth.
She's with Casey.
Yeah.
And Rip has gone to drop horses off in Texas. Okay.
There's no one to handle his woman.
So she phones up Rip and she says, "You have to come home." You know, she's crying. You have to come home. So finally he shows up. She's been talking to Casey about how he needs to go and like handle his business. And it's like classic Beth. And the second that Rip shows up, she breaks down, runs out crying. Blah. Anyways, this huge fucking terrible scene. Then I find the whole point of the story is I find out that she's British.
Bravo.
And then I'm like, well, this is so over the top. You know what I mean? It makes it 10 times more over the top.
Yeah.
Because she's acting as an American, acting like a
Well,
fucking...
that's it. And sometimes
it's
you got to go.
crazy.
How dare
you gotta
she
go,
act?
You got to
What
go
a
way
bitch.
over so you
No,
can
no.
bring it back.
I'm not saying there's
You wouldn't
any...
understand. It's acting.
Yeah.
Me and Matt sort of understand a little bit more.
It's true, actually. Yeah.
Have you seen The Fugitive? The movie The Fugitive?
With Harrison Ford. Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon, two racks of brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game where Matt and Simon go head to head to find out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office. This week we're doing The Fugitive, where a man is wrongly accused and on the run.
Dr. Richard Kimball. It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man. Get off my plane.
Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones, Sulla Ward, Joe Pantoliano. Love me some Joe Pantoliano. Andres Catalusis and Jerome Crabe.
Just goes to lose. Simon, you ready with a year?
That was an amazing Harrison Ford you had there. I must say.
Thanks.
It took me back.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like
You didn't get the joke. It's from a different movie, but whatever.
if he had, but the Ford is what it is about. If he knew Joe Rogan at this time, he could call him and say, "Tell the U.S. Marshals that I'm wrongly accused.
Yeah, get Trump on the phone.
Get Trump on the phone and tell me what year this movie came out."
I'm ready with a year.
That's another thing about aging is watching superstar
Watching famous people get really old.
actors and musicians.
Dude, Mike Tyson looked old as
I wonder,
fuck.
I wonder why I'm not aging like them. Because in your mind, you're in, I don't know, delusion.
Simon, you have a year yet? What's going on over there?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, I said it came out in 91.
And I said 92.
You're right.
One more would be 1993, which is the correct answer. Yeah, it's all right, guys. It's all right. It's all right.
Shit. All right, I said it cost $30 million.
Oh,
to make.
I haven't done
What
my numbers
is
yet.
wrong
What are you
with
doing over
I
there?
was just
You're
figuring out my
crunching numbers?
year. Yeah, I was just figuring
No,
out my year.
it's like that's the end of society, really.
What is?
Well, we would talk about it in the post Joe, but we're here now. Mike Tyson against. How could that ever look good if you had known? But I would do it for $20 million.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'd fight anyone for $20 million. Me versus my mom.
I think Jake Paul's going to dig up Muhammad Ali, beat on his course. I'm the new guy in town.
I wouldn't
Okay.
put it past him.
Ready.
Okay, I said it cost $30 million to make, and it made 120.
I said it cost 22 to make, and it made 220.
Cost a little bit more than that to make.
Well, they did have that train scene. Yeah, the dam.
The thing of the dam, I think that took
Yeah.
a
No, the
bunch of
train
cranes
crashing
as
too
well,
is
that
like a
too.
lot. That's a big scene. Yeah.
Budget $44 million.
Wow.
Box office $368.9 million.
Yeah, we forgot what.
It's a push for me.
What do you mean it's a push?
Well, you're both a couple years off, but around there, and
Oh no, we both lost
close.
miserably.
Well, no, I think it's time to turn over a new leaf headed into 2025. Now that we've ruling the world, don't you have that sense?
Yeah, you know what? Being negative for my whole life has gotten me absolutely nowhere. So maybe it's time I change it.
It's the first
Be
time
really
in a long
negative.
time where there's something in place where they have no excuses.
I wish it affected us a little more. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so happy for the Americans. Maybe they'll finally be able to get their disaster of a experiment under control. But like,
I don't know how it's a disaster, but
That's the movie game.
it's super corrupt. Sorry.
yeah,
I
that's
just,
fine. Yeah, I just in general the country has
Sorry.
created.
Sorry, you're right. That was mean.
Some
It's
people
not
say
a-
corrupt. Some
it's
people say
not-
prosperous.
It's not a disaster, but like it's pretty gross. It's not the way it was meant to be. It was meant to be an experiment in freedom, and it's become an experiment in how the government can control that population and make the most money doing it.
Sure.
That seems pretty
I just think
much
it's-
like a disaster.
I just
but
think it's,
every country's doing that. It's doing it the best.
No, again, it came out wrong.
Yeah,
I
it
wasn't
did. Yeah, yeah.
trying to insult them. I was more trying to say like we're in a very similar position, and yet we don't have a white knight who's rode in. We have fucking Trudeau
I
and
appreciate
some
the
other
distinction.
guy. Anyways, just go on.
I imagine that if Kamar owned a home, have you ever seen when they did Tyrese's cribs? And they go to the basement, and he has this wild mural of Tupac being baptized by Malcolm X. And I can just picture Kamar getting rich and having like Reagan baptizing Trump in a lake in a river. You know what I mean?
How
Like,
could you even imagine that?
He would do the Last Supper with all of his guys
Oh, I like that,
and
yeah.
him
Yeah.
as Jesus.
You'd never imagine that in a million years.
I just did imagine it.
I could never imagine it in a million years. I give this a 3.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, that's
we
fine.
ended with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
movie game.
That's a lot.
Great. Oh yeah, it has to be over.
I give it a 3, sure.
You're doing that thing again.
No, I'm not. Dubin is doing the good work. He
Usually
came on.
you give him a 5
Yeah,
Wow.
we used to do that. We used to do that just fucking virtuous singing bullshit.
until he brought on the head chopper. You were a solid 5 every episode.
But the Wizard of Oz has come down, man. No clothes.
No, Simon's right. I rescind.
You have to
I have
give
to
him
give it
the
a 5.
5,
He
yeah.
has a standing 5. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Fucking SJW.
I'm not a social
what
justice.
did
Go
what,
fuck yourself.
What
asshole.
did you give him?
A 3.
I'm gonna give that 3 instead of you, and you can give
Because
your 5.
you're a Jew cunt. That's why.
It's something like that. That's rude and anti-Semitic, but I guess you can get away with that now that Trump is president. Oh no, he loves
No, because you are a Jew.
Elect.
So it's 2. All I did was it was 2 truthful statements.
What was the second statement?
If I had said you're a piece of shit because you're a Jew, that's anti-Semitic.
Oh, I see.
All I did was
Interesting.
point out that you're a
That
cunt
you are
and a Jew.
Right, got you. Interesting. That is interesting. Yep,
Yeah.
that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. I don't think
I completely removed the
I don't think
anti-Semitism
you
from
need
it.
to announce that I'm a Jew.
No, that's fine.
That seems like a weird thing to do. I'm not walking down the street like Italian,
I don't know.
Irish. You know what I mean? That's just, it's weird.
Okay.
You-
Kamar, we can move on. It's fine.
Yeah. 22-27, Adrian Appalucci. Appalucci?
Iapolucci.
Appalucci.
Whatever. I think it's Iapolucci.
I think it starts with an L, no?
Doesn't it start with an I?
What does it start with?
Lappalucci.
What is
That's
it?
an L.
Are you sure? You didn't even look it up.
We have a new game. It's spell the fucking
Let's
guest
be honest
name.
here. You can say words without saying them.
Yeah, by
The
nodding.
way they were,
as long as people nod.
the way they're initially intended.
It's Iapolucci, you fucking
Lappalucci.
morons.
So it's not even an L.
So I
you're,
said
no.
you're a dink.
I said Adrian Appalucci.
Yeah, enough.
And that could have been the I or
Yeah,
soft eye.
He's the one
Soft
who.
eye.
You got all up in my business.
Not me. Not me. Roll back the tape.
So we just
dum-dum.
went
Lalapolucci.
Mike Tyson versus
Lollapalooza.
Jake Paul is like the lowest form of gladiator spectacle we've seen in a long time.
I don't know why I thought that Mike Tyson was going to go out there at 58 years old and be like
Not you.
something he wasn't.
Oh, hold on. Not you. Dude, I looked at the numbers. Holy fuck. Vegas, so like 2 weeks ago, the 3 biggest online gambling sites in the US, FanDuel, DraftKings, and whatever other one, all had to release statements to their shareholders saying Q4, we expect way worse results than we were expecting because all the public are hitting. Like the favorites have been winning in football. The public has been winning, and we expect $100 million downfall due to it. I think they made all their money back. I looked at the numbers, dude. The whole public was on Tyson. The whole public was on Tyson and
Really,
talked about.
eh? Okay.
Not the whole. Listen, when I say the whole, that's ridiculous. I'm talking 75%, which is a pretty large number of the betting public.
I thought I was just being a hater. Okay, interesting. But he looked every
He looked every day of 58.
day
I mean,
of his age.
If they had
and
brought out
not more.
if they had
like-
brought out a walker in the third round, I would have been like, this is helping. It also seemed rigged because there was a few times where Jake left himself open to a knockout punch, and Tyson just, again, it could be age,
Yeah,
but he just
maybe.
didn't
Yeah.
fire. Like there were times, and I watched it back because I was like, maybe my eyes, maybe it's just trickery. I watched it back and I was like, no, there's 3 times where he could have fucking.
No, they probably had some sort. I don't know. He just looks so old. It was really sad. And
But in what world is Jake Paul said like this looks amazing? He beat this old
I know,
man
I don't get it.
in the middle of a ring.
and
know.
Jake is so much bigger than Mike Tyson. It's crazy.
Dude, we're talking about a 60-year-old man.
No, I know, but my memory of Mike is he's as big as any man. You know what I mean? Like, why? Jake is just so big. It's crazy. I had how is his head so big now?
Dude, what I
And I don't mean
Steroids,
metaphorically.
Steroids.
What I saw in there, though, was like if you put dude, they were talking about the potential of him fighting Canelo next.
This is nuts. That's nuts, right?
Canelo Alvarez will kill that kid.
And everyone will pay more money to watch it. He's really pulled off an
I
amazing
have to see
feat,
him-
love him or hate him.
I have to see him fight like a. Okay, I know he fought what's his
Tommy
name,
Fury.
but Tommy Fury isn't like a guy
lost.
where
He
you're-
lost to Tommy
No,
Fury.
I know, but even Tommy Fury, you're like that's not a guy who you like think about when you think of a good boxer. You know what I mean? I want to see a guy who can go in there and actually throw competent combinations and who knows what the fuck they're doing.
Simon, I believe in my heart of hearts, if they put in a ranked boxer who was a weight class or 2 below him, they would beat him.
Well, he can't do that because that won't be the biggest draw.
Oh,
But
I understand
if you
that,
can take
Kamar.
a step back, not care who it is, you're like, wow, how did this guy get to this point?
Well, hold on.
Well,
said he was gonna
boxing
do it.
has become a fucking joke.
First off,
Boxes with
It's
a
become
joke.
the WWE.
we can't even call what he's doing boxing. Ben Askren, definitely not a boxer, not even a stand-up
Nate
fighter.
Robinson.
Nate
Don't
Robinson,
forget that.
Tyron Woodley, and if you go back and watch that, it looks so set up. Like Tyron's got his hands up and then drops this hand and gets caught and just falls down. Who else? We had Nate Diaz, which I mean that one actually seemed legit. Oddly
You wouldn't
enough.
do that, would you? Huh? I guess for $1 million.
Take a
For
fall.
$20 million?
Fight Nate Diaz.
Yes, I would for $20 million. No grappling.
But he beat the shit out of you.
He'd beat the living fuck out of me.
I wouldn't be able to get anywhere near him. His arms are so long.
You'd just be knocked out.
That's the other thing too.
But Brandon Schaub could probably beat him.
The tail of the tape. Tyson had a
I
6
think you guys are missing the point.
Tyson had a 6-inch reach disadvantage at 58
Oh,
years
no,
old.
that was unbelievable. And I'll give credit to Netflix, besides the fact that that wasn't good product. The actual production around, like I think it was Andre Ward. There's people talking about how ridiculous it is, but we're going to see what happens.
Oh my God, Netflix is taking so much flack.
For streaming
Yeah,
issues.
because like
Mine worked fine.
75 million people, no, not that many. A lot of people didn't, they had all sorts of
But
problems.
how much would you like to watch Stipe fight Jake Paul?
That was so,
No,
that
no.
was so
You wouldn't
fun.
like to see that?
No.
Really?
He
Stop
looked every day
putting-
his
Yes,
age
stop
also,
putting-
man. That was horrible.
Well, stop
horrible.
talking about that, man. You're going to age.
No, we're already
oh,
there.
I am.
then-
But
I'm
I'm
not
also
looking
not
for a
fighting.
super fight with Jake Paul.
You don't want to see Stipe
Say it.
Miocic.
Oh, yeah. it doesn't
I'm
get
done
there.
with this tomato
Yeah,
can
I don't like
circus.
this.
I'm
Bullshit.
done with this.
I totally
am.
agree.
I'm
Fight
sorry.
someone legit or fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, he's just got a bullseye on him.
And like to me, Jake Paul lost that fight.
And if Mike Tyson really, if they
If
had
I
a
can
deal,
lose and make $40 million, please.
No, I get it.
I'm telling you, that's the bottom line here.
I'm sorry, if they had a deal, like
Yeah.
if that's what Jake Paul is doing, like you said, he could have knocked him out. Tyrone Woodley dropped his hands, all of it. This is the worst thing ever.
It's not classy.
When you start rigging, like at least with wrestling, we know it's fake. Here we kind of know, but there's still this illusion of reality. This is fucking bullshit.
What's the
Somebody
benef-
should
what's
do
the
a deep
benefit to us if
dive
it's
on
real?
this shit, man.
You know what's funny too is the amount of people that hit
Professional wrestling.
the amount of people that hit me up and were like, who are you taking in this? And I was like, I'd put my money on Kirk Cousins before I'd put my money anywhere near this fucking fight. Like it was crazy to me the amount of even just casual people that were jumping in on it. Like I was like, you don't even gamble. Why are you putting money on?
So all missions were accomplished.
Yeah, listen, Kamar.
Besides Jake Paul looking like a douchebag, but that's his
That's
MO.
his MO. Yeah, and listen, the whole thing was just a sales pitch. The whole thing was just to sell stuff. The fights were secondary. It was like an NFL game. Like it was them spraying the cologne at every turn.
Oh, they're
the
sleaziest.
Alec Monopoly designed shorts that were worth $1.1 million. The shoes.
Those did sort of bang.
The fact that when they drove out in the car, they were like, "This is from a monster garage, and it's brought to you by
Hey.
44 Tires. Don't forget about them. Check them out on their Instagram."
I really like that guy. He is from the
Moro?
WWE, and that's why I thought it made me think it's wrestling, and that's what makes people. Makes you think about Rick Rubin. Makes you think about all the things along the way. That the best spectacle of them all is the one probably where you have the most control. If you're gonna fleece people for millions and millions of dollars, and
Here's the thing, though. I don't mind fleecing people with like, "Hey, this is just a sales thing." The gambling aspect really bothers me. You can't gamble on the WWE, and there's a reason for that. Because
you can't. That's interesting.
and so
Gamble
listen
on this.
Yeah.
Well, it was sanctioned, so talk to the Texas sanction.
Like I'm going to give you an example. I think that the betting public, if you made a futures bet on Christian McCaffrey this season, I think there should be a class action lawsuit against the San Francisco 49ers
Why?
because they knew he was severely injured to start the season, and instead of announcing it, they let the betting public and Vegas too, because of course they'll take your fucking money. They don't give a shit.
Let's say that's like a company not saying that one of their warehouses has a complete plumbing breakdown and it's going to cost $2 billion when they're trying to sell their company.
Yeah.
They don't tell the company, or the companies, or you invest in the company not knowing that this company is going to
Dude, it's like knowing
Horrible analogy. Sorry, guys.
it's like knowing you've been selling tainted lettuce and not recalling it. You know what I mean? Just being like, nah, we'll just see who gets hurt and we'll pay for it later.
So
Go ahead. Sorry.
all this spectacle talk is to bring it back to the fact that there's a fire festival too,
Yeah, which is crazy.
and which is crazy because do we do that?
Fleece Fest
We only do that-
2025.
We only give second chances to priests in this country, but if you try to run a scam on people, there's no way this guy pulled a festival, went to jail, and is doing it again.
No, this is a fool me twice sort of
Only in
scenario.
America.
I feel like you're the wrong guy to be speaking on this,
On what?
on getting scammed.
Why?
Because you already have your Firefest 2 pass. you bought the executive
Why?
pass.
Because you just told us about how you tried to buy a Corolla
Yeah. No,
from
it's
a Nigerian prince.
You don't listen. It was a Camry.
This guy looks me square in the face like
Camry.
I'm the asshole and says why.
It's true though, Simon. Come on.
Simon.
Why?
Chill out, man. We thought you were cool.
We'll
So, anyways,
be right back.
He where were we? He's able to throw this festival, go to jail, come back, throw it again. I mean, that's what.
Why do you turn right towards him? Like, I don't do that.
No, I'm looking at the EE.
No, you always have your back to the camera.
Yeah, he always has his back.
Not
to
when the
camera,
football's on. So
No, just right at me.
what has
And then turn your head to Matt when you want to talk to him.
Yeah.
what has fame become?
What does that mean?
I don't know, Kamar.
Compare like the idea you had to do something special. You had to be a big athlete. You had
Wrong.
to be an artist. No.
No, I think, well, listen, in our lifetime, no. Like Monica Lewinsky was famous. The difference is that if Monica Lewinsky became famous for that now, her Instagram would pop off. She'd have a Twitter. She'd have
Could've
a.
monetized
She'd be
it.
Huck Tua.
She'd make $100 million off her podcast.
She'd have a podcast called The Blue Dress Chronicles or
Yeah,
something.
Smell this cigar, whatever the fuck it. You know what I mean? And she'd make a fucking like back then. She sold handbags. Like that was the flex. Like I'm going to sell Monica Lewinsky handbags. You know what I mean?
What, on like the shopping network or
I think
something?
yeah, something like
Dude,
that.
That's hilarious.
She did like a whole tour where she was selling her handbags. So that was kind of the. Whereas now, like what you're saying, like you can turn like Hawk Tua, you can turn a weird 15 minutes of fame that used to ruin your life into
they
actual
said
money.
Content creation is the number one job now.
It's crazy that I was watching that Huck Tua, I don't know, interview fucking Kamala Harris or something. She was like on the street spitting into a microphone like 6 months ago. And now
Now she's interviewing potential
Dude,
presidential
it's-
candidates.
No, she didn't really have Kamala on, but it's just crazy. The world is crazy.
I mean, listen, in her defense, most people that become viral for that don't turn it into what she turned it into. She actually, it's almost like Bad Bunny.
Is
that her name?
I'm not demeaning her for it. I just find
Yes,
it
I did.
insane.
Bad Bunny.
Bad Baby.
Bad Baby,
That's it. Like Danielle Bregoli.
No, I get it. I'm not. I mean, her. I think that's way worse.
But then
Cash Me Outside.
Then
Yeah,
when they
it's
circle
way
it
worse.
back, we talk about it like this. But then I think Adrian brought it up. Kim Kardashian and Ray J.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that tape was released on purpose by her mother.
But without that, there is none of
We
them.
know this now.
Well, not to say, hold on. That's
No, it was Paris
timeline.
Hilton and what timeline?
The whole Kardashian verse.
Well, that starts with Paris Hilton.
No, that starts with Robert Kardashian. What the fuck are we doing here?
I think it starts with Ray J.
No.
and
You
guys insane?
Kardashian's tape being leaked by Kris
No,
Jenner.
hold on. Yes, but Kim Kardashian becomes famous
Yeah, but wait.
because of Paris Hilton.
Yeah, but back
Not
up.
because of that.
She's nowhere near Paris Hilton. They're not near any socialites without Robert Kardashian.
Yeah, fine.
Well, I'm just saying that if you really want to go back, and then Bruce Jenner,
And OJ, like the whole thing gets real fucking sticky.
it's weird as fuck.
Sticky with blood.
So nothing should surprise us. Do you think you'd make the most of it if you're in prison for life?
No.
Adrian said if she was in prison for life, she would learn everything.
I get it. If you're in prison for like 30 years and you're going to get out and then
I'm with Simon. I don't actually see that. If you're not getting out, what's the point of learning everything and knowing everything?
One way to look at it.
I guess it just fills the time.
Listen, we're in Canada. I would just be like, can we not just end me?
You can't. Can you do that when you're in prison? I don't think so.
That's very interesting.
They let you hold on.
No,
they
you
let
have to serve out your time. You can't just decide you want to die. There's no capital punishment in Canada.
No maids.
Doesn't matter. They let someone kill themselves because they had a COVID vaccine related injury.
Yeah.
Maids.
That's just a normal person who's not in prison.
You have no right to health care if you're in prison. Is that what you're trying to say?
You
Something?
have no right to decide that your sentence is over. That's not what prison is about.
You don't. Well, why? But if you're ending your own life,
It's not up to you. You're in prison.
you don't know this. You're just giving your opinion.
I do know this
How do you know this?
because I study the law in
Shut
Canada.
up, bud.
I don't fucking know. My brother's a lawyer. What do you want from me?
That's the chewiest answer I've ever fucking heard.
You know when somebody's dad is a doctor and they like want to look
Like
at your
you.
fucking rash? Like, fuck off, man. You're not a doctor. Yeah, it's similar, but just trust me on this one, Maddie. You can't just decide to end your life when you're in prison. That's not how it works.
Well, you can't.
First of all, you can't.
Yo, not aided by the government.
Paid for. Let's say paid for by.
Yeah, you definitely. I was like, wait a minute.
No, you can do whatever
Jeffrey
you
Epstein
want.
proved you can do that.
Well, that's not necessarily true either.
Do you think you can learn to develop a taste for tofu?
Absolutely
while I'm in
not.
prison?
I hate tofu. No,
It's
we're off.
something-
We're
Oh,
off
we're
of
off
prison.
prison,
No,
okay.
no, we're now on to tofu.
It's a prison of food. I mean, it takes a flavor. I wonder what's wrong with knockoffs. I mean, I'm a victim of the scam like anyone, you know. Just pile on me if you want more. But
Well, no. Hold on. If you're wearing a pair of shoes that we can't tell are knockoffs, there's nothing wrong with that
So
because
that's where-
nobody will ever know.
That's
When
what-
you come in shiny moon boots,
no one will
like,
know.
and the
No one will know.
and the tag says Jordoon.
Yeah,
and
I don't
like,
have to personalize this, Simon.
I'm with you, Simon.
you know what? Kamar,
What?
Kamar, I told
go
you.
be a baby somewhere else.
What?
Kamar, I told you a few
Standing
weeks
up for
ago,
myself.
the guy that started Bathing Ape made all the Bathing Ape knockoffs in the same warehouse that he made Bathing Ape.
He just beat them to
Yeah.
cut them to the
Well, he was like,
chase.
someone's going to do it. I'll do it. It'll-
And this way, all the Bathing Ape knockoffs look really good. So you don't have Snopey instead of Snoopy.
And
And you
apparently-
can sell your stuff for less.
and he made $150 million doing it.
well, that's fucking brilliant.
So, I mean,
Dude, that's fucking brilliant. I wasn't even thinking about the money. I was just thinking about like brand quality.
yeah,
you
no,
know?
but think about it. Like if Louis Vuitton started doing that,
But if you make knockoffs, let's say,
Yeah.
and you have a brand that you want to protect, then everybody who's wearing the knockoffs, like nothing ever goes bad. You know what I mean? You don't get these shitty shirts that rip all the time,
Yeah.
and people wear. Anyway, they don't end up in flea markets. Who knows, man?
listen, you control the whole supply chain
Yeah.
if you make
Would
your
you
own
take
knockoffs.
a free pair of knockoffs?
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't wear knockoffs.
You wouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
If I know, I don't want them.
I bought a knock-
I'm happy to wear them if I don't know.
My first time in New York, I went right to buy a knockoff Rolex. That was like my first stop.
I can see that. That's,
You see,
that's
I would
easier to
never,
get to.
I would never want to wear a knockoff
But
Rolex.
you'd
Like if I
wear a
can't
real one?
afford a Rolex, I don't want it.
Don't
You
Hold
know
on,
what
but
I mean?
Simon, 21-year-old me telling people too, this is a knockoff, and like, you know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
fun. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
got back from New
That's
York.
different.
I wasn't trying to flex on people like I.
No, totally. I'm just saying right now,
just want to look cool.
today,
It's a accoutrement.
Yeah.
like I have no interest to wear like something that I can't afford.
If
because
someone
it's a
gave you like
knockoff.
some flashy Fendi scarf, you could never wear it. Or you could, maybe for a fancy occasion.
Well, I don't think I would wear a scarf ever.
Bad example.
Oh,
That's probably why I
a
thought
scarf.
about it.
I'm sorry. I was thinking like a
handkerchief.
like a sachet scarf, you know?
No, he's on like a
Ascot.
winter
Yeah,
scarf.
Ascot.
No,
Like if
I
someone
mean,
gave you a nice Burberry scarf like this, you'd
I
wear
would,
it.
I would love that.
But you'd never pay
if I-
$1,600
If I
for it on
found
your
out
own.
it was
Knockoff,
fake,
yes,
I would
exactly.
throw it in the garbage.
Exactly.
I have no interest in
I can't
wearing
wear this.
a
My brother's a
knockoff
lawyer.
As if the guy in the real Burberry scarf is going to hold the elevator for
It's
you.
real, so you can wear it even though you didn't buy it, which is sort of the idea of wearing designer stuff, right? Make it
I mean,
appear
Kamar,
like you're
listen,
rich.
I got to be honest with you. I'm not the type of guy who would wear designer shit, so I wouldn't wear knockoff. Like, I would never buy a Burberry scarf, therefore, I wouldn't wear a knockoff Burberry
But you
scarf.
have some brand allegiances. I guess just Vans or something
But
like that.
like, okay, example, like you wear those fancy Nike SBs.
Which ones do I? Which fancy Nike SBs do I have?
Don't you have the staple ones?
Nope. You're talking about some
the
of the
pigeons?
hardest shoes in history
I thought
to
you
get.
had those.
No.
Would you wear a knockoff version of that?
Nope.
So same. And we know I'm a chump. So
You would for sure wear a
have
knockoff
asked
version.
and
of it?
answered.
Well, no, you didn't know you were buying a knockoff version. Like that's not why we make fun of you.
Just because I'm a sucker.
That's right.
That's about it. Yeah.
Could you imagine a alternate universe where Joe happened to become vegetarian? Where would it be right now?
Dude, that would be so funny if you could like look into a different dimension and see.
You don't have to.
His dog got
Hold on.
killed by something, and he
Yeah.
said, "No more animals."
No,
And
dude, everything would be different.
Tom and Christina have had that guy on their show. The guy that Joe Rogan would have become. You've seen him. He's bald. He's always talking about sunning his anus and his balls.
yes,
that's
of
that's
course,
the
of
Joe.
course.
That's
Yeah,
the vegan Joe Rogan, like 100%.
we'd still be covering him to our
To our
detriment,
dismay, yeah.
No.
Probably
that's him.
never start listening to him if it wasn't for the hunting.
At one point, she said, "Last time I was here, I was like, you were here before," which I felt really bad about.
He was, yeah. And you shat on her then too.
And there was a lot of fecal talk.
Yeah,
There's
she's
a lot of fecal
she's
talk.
a poop comedian.
She's a fecophiliac. She's really into that shit.
Is that what that's called?
When you're really into shit? Yeah.
Is that fecal philiac?
Fecophiliac, I think. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty on the nose. It's not usually like that.
Yeah. Usually it's like a spontaneous Fuquello.
Well, I mean, I guess arachnophobic. That's pretty on the nose.
But okay. Yeah.
But like claustrophobic. What's the fucking clauster?
this.
When you're in a closet.
closet.
Is it? It's a closet phobia.
I'm deep in the cloister right now.
Do you really think that's what that is? I'm gonna check. You know what? I don't care.
She asked.
It is.
She asked Joe if he would like to know when or how he was going to die. They've all agreed we don't want to know that. She wants to know.
Yeah, no desire.
No desire.
Sears Roebuck.
Roebuck. Yes.
Sears was not Canadian then.
Was not Kmart, but a major retailer.
We had one though. Well, Eaton's. Eaton's is Canadian.
Yeah.
Eaton's
And
Bay.
Hudson Bay.
Hudson's Bay. is
Hudson
the
Bay,
big
obviously.
one.
Zellers was Canadian, wasn't it?
Zellers. That's a better example.
Zellers is Canadian.
I thought Zellers was
I thought
Canadian. I could
Zellers
be
was
wrong.
owned by Walmart,
I think they bought the remaining Zellers.
or maybe Kmart owned Zellers.
Well, how about I say Sears and then I say Blockbuster? Then I say Kmart, and we could say something else. But this idea that people,
He's
institutions,
just saying words now. I could say box. You could say fox. We could go down.
Segways are insane. Insane. Oh my God.
the idea is institutions that become afterthoughts.
Go on.
What decisions they made, what they acquire that went that way. That, the idea that Netflix went to Blockbuster.
Well, a good example of that in modern time is Nordstrom's.
Yeah,
Like those guys were fucking killing it for a second. And then, or even better, look at Target Canada. That's a really good example of.
I didn't want to have to do this to Adrian Appalucci, but look at the Canadian Post Office. That's lost. No, it's a business, right? It's supposed to be a business. It's lost $3 billion over the last 6 years. $500 million a year it loses.
Yeah, they still, dude. How much is a stamp?
Not enough. It's supposed to be $40.
Yeah, it should literally.
If they're
Yes.
supposed to break even. But where do we make this decision where we cut the?
You don't, because when the
many
world
jobs.
goes to shit, when the world goes to shit and there's no more internet, you're going to be thanking your lucky stars that there's a Pony Express.
You get a
out
letter?
there
But you know what? Think about
Dear
what,
Kamara, I've eaten my
You're next.
So it's
See you
difficult.
soon.
think about what he's saying though. Like most of that's junk mail. What do you think the percentage of that is just garbage
Yeah.
junk mail from companies?
They should start this at the federal level. Mail should be illegal to send a letter or something.
The reason the post office still exists, I imagine, in Canada is that,
Well, elderly people still get their bills that way.
well, and there are probably places that don't get internet. When the whole of Canada, none of it, every single place gets internet, then the post becomes irrelevant. But until that point,
Well, that could be
those
yesterday. That
people
could be
need
last
to
year.
Get their information. Well, they just made a deal in Ontario to work with Leon Musk to use fucking Skylink for whatever. So maybe that'll extend to all of Canada, and then you can do away with the postal system.
There's a horrible thing
Then
to
I
say
wouldn't be collecting the data of Canada.
to bring it in, but do you know what the voter turnout for the last provincial election in Ontario
These
was?
fools are letting me into their
I'm
capital.
going to assume it was low.
35%.
Yeah, that's a travesty.
What? Sorry.
In the last provincial election, the voter was 35%.
The voter turnout?
Yeah.
God, we're useless.
And that's who's in charge of like healthcare, education. It's pretty crazy. Joe does admit in this episode he's out of control. Like he's made too much money.
He admits that?
He mentions it. He goes, I'm out of control. Like guys who are richer than me are out of control. The idea that there's a billionaire that feels inferior to a 100 billionaire. Joe has too much money, which is some great self-awareness. He's best friends with the president. Do you think he's taken a risk? He's taken an uncalculated risk
How?
in associating himself so close to the politics.
No.
I mean, maybe if Trump had lost, but no.
Joe is now too big to fail. He has like zero overhead. He makes so much money. He's worth so much money.
The government can't shut him down because he is the government.
The government was never going to shut him down. He has fucking Mike Baker
He's
on
bigger than
quarterly.
CNN.
Like, what are we doing?
It's just happened in front of our eyes, and it's almost like watching a child grow up. It's gotten so much bigger, so much faster. We never thought this would happen. None of it's because of us. So that feels good, right?
No, we're the anchor of this ship. If anything, we're holding it down. He could be plowing forward.
Do you
without
ever
us.
marvel at all? I really, in the last couple of days, have just gone, what the fuck is going on? Compared to where we were when we started to what we imagine how big Joe Rogan could be, who influence conversations. I mean, this is what we do about
not
what
that
his
crazy, though,
influence would
'cause
be.
We're
4
like a
years ago-
step
hold on.
away from the president.
4 years ago, we all agreed that because of him, 3 separate people probably couldn't become president.
Oh, do you want to talk about being wrong? That's a whole different ballgame.
No, I'm not talking about being
when
wrong.
You say it was a curse. To go on this was a kiss of death in politics.
Yeah, but my point remained that even 4 years ago, he had a lot of influence where maybe we didn't notice it then. Now it's become blatantly obvious. Like we kind of brushed it off like, oh, you know, everyone that went on Joe didn't become president or immediately their fucking campaign was over. But like that was probably true.
It's just such a crazy influence that it's become.
Yeah, I agree. It's nuts.
It
I
can't. It can't grow anymore.
What do you? Of
I mean,
course
he
it
can
can.
get more subscribers, but what is there for him just to become podcaster of the universe?
Well, wait a
Live
minute, like,
podcast from
He's
the moon?
talking about opening
He's going to do the Mr.
comedy
Beast thing.
not comedy stores, motherships all over the United
So
States.
that would be the fail point.
By the way, oh no, it's in the Jeff.
No,
Dial.
I don't
Forget
know
it.
if he'll fail. I'm just saying that's the next
obviously I hope
course
to
of
succeed
action.
more clubs, more opportunities.
That's how you
But
get bigger.
But where does Joe Rogan become Sears? That's not possible. He's a sunset brand.
Why?
I
He's
mean,
already
it's-
Sears. What are you talking about?
Well, Sears is gone.
Well,
Yeah,
the one
and Joe
thing
will be gone at some point too.
To say he's already Sears would be he's already
the
gone.
one thing you can
No.
say about Joe, like in his defense, is that he never did any. He never sold weed. He never, you know what I mean? He had every opportunity to cash in way more.
Well,
than
we don't even know what he
cashed in.
tried to sell it.
Oh, his name was on some weed. He just didn't really push it on the show. Like
His name wasn't on weed.
I guarantee
No.
you. Okay.
No. You find it. Find Joe Rogan weed. He never did that. Listen, I'm the biggest fucking.
I think you're forgetting that this show has been on the air for 12 years and that you didn't start listening to it until about 5 years into the show. And all I'm saying is that when in the illegal market in LA, I mean, first of all, you don't know that someone didn't just put his face and his name on there.
That could have happened, but Joe didn't cash in on it. He wasn't making weed with his name on it. And there was a million other things he could have done. He never did any of
That's
those.
all you ever do is defend Joe.
He never did any of those brand promotions. Like, what did Joe? I guess he did for his own companies, but that's normal, right? Like
He stayed clear as long as he could till the big check came in.
Spotify. That's the. I mean, that's a little different.
And
It's
we
a
have
big
no
check.
idea what the financials are or anything. All I'm just saying is I can't see how he could get any bigger. What could top what
I
he's
told you,
got
he'll
to.
just Mr. Beast it. Like, think about it. If they released this podcast in 50 different languages, which is very easily done right now with AI, he could easily reach 50x the. And then his next Spotify deal would be $4 billion.
Of course, I'm speaking out of ignorance, but it just seems like his capture is better than Mr. Beast's capture, which is almost like a childlike capture. Will Mr. Beast mature into Mr. Boast?
Do you think Joe would like do? Is the idea to do like the biggest show ever?
No, Tony would do that. I think
Not like arena show ever. You know what I mean? Fill the most for a comedian.
I like that Joe was willing to travel for Artie Lang, but not Kamala Harris.
He went to New York for Artie, but was he not in New York already?
Didn't matter. The point is he was. That's the only ever episode outside of his home or studio or somewhere he was comfortable that he actually did, and I just thought it was interesting.
She also only would give him an hour. Like
Listen, I get why
he doesn't want to do that.
I understand why he wouldn't do it either. I would have told them to go fuck themselves. I would have been like, the deal is you come here to me,
just like Trump did. You're no more special than him.
100. Yeah.
We know the vice president isn't busy.
First
So,
of all, you want
figure it out.
this. You want this interview, so come the fuck to me. Like, I'm not coming to you for this interview.
Lastly, do you have any ideas of what will be looked back in 50 years now is just ridiculous?
Everything, all of it.
Perfect. I give it a 2.5.
It really does feel like a time though where like we're gonna look back 10 years, 20 years from now, whatever it is, and just see the jest that our society had become.
But look back at what happened 20 years from now, how you look at it even.
No, but Simon, I think about something like social media. I think like, I mean, we weren't alive, but if you think back to like when the first couple of factories were opened, I bet there were deaths all the time. Right? Just because it was like they hadn't set up they hadn't set up safety protocols. No one knew how dangerous the machinery was. So in the first couple of years, first decade, I bet there was just so many deaths. And then eventually they figured out like, hold on, we need some safety stuff, some protocols. And then the factory became, a much safer place. I bet like there's a chance that 20 years from now, once we put in place all the proper stops on social media, it'll probably be just a normal. You know what I mean? It won't be as invasive. It won't be as disgusting.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. There has to be that stuff. But there isn't. This is what we've been railing against for fucking...
That's what I'm saying. Like now that there's all these places that are banning it in schools, banning it for kids.
Should totally... But you don't want the government to make regulation.
No.
Sorry, people like you don't want the government
people like
to
me.
make
You don't. You're such a dipshit.
They don't want... People don't want more regulations put on by the government, but I think this is just one of those times where you need to have these scaffoldings in place. Otherwise, we see what happens, right? Like, I guess the same would hold true for Bitcoin. I know you don't, that's like, nobody wants the government involved in Bitcoin. But at the same time, you're like, well, you guys obviously can't monitor yourself.
First off, let me tell you what I've learned about Bitcoin.
Or maybe not Bitcoin, but
They always talk about Bitcoin anonymity. I can never say the word.
anonymity.
Yeah. I don't think that's real.
What do you mean? You can just find out who everybody is?
I mean, anyone in that space, like take a CoffeeZilla or anyone he works with, now you, Joe Schmo, who nobody knows, your wallet might be able to be kept somewhat anonymous. All these big players, once they're moving around enough Bitcoin, it becomes pretty obvious whose fucking wallet is whose. It's almost more trackable than a bank account, which is somewhat protected by privacy laws and this and that. You know what I mean? So
fair enough. Okay, sure.
And again,
there just seems to be a lot of hijinks going on in that world. The Sam Bankman-Frieds, the pump and dumps on the NFTs, the this, the that, and the other, the coins and the tokens and it seems like a little bit of.
Did you see CoffeeZilla's last video?
What was it?
Well, he was talking about Mr. Beast potentially being involved in crypto scams. And
no, I haven't seen
I'll keep it short, but Mr. Beast was on an episode of Impulsive, and
I did see it.
And Logan Paul's talking about how he's like, yeah, we all got told to get on this call with Gary Vee, and Gary Vee tells us all to buy
his stupid little things,
the CryptoPunks. Yeah. And he's like, so we all jump on CryptoPunks, and he's like, and then sure enough, wow, Gary was right again. And it took Mike Malik of all people sitting there. Mike Malik is like, hey, I don't want to be like like you can tell they're both too like, shut the fuck up, Mike. But Mike jumps in and is like, Is there any chance that Gary making that call makes the market?
This
Is there any
so
chance that
fucking
is there any
obvious.
chance that Gary calling up 15 different billionaires and saying we should all pump this market up? Like,
makes it seem like they're and if you listen to the speech that Gary Vee gives too,
you guys are killing them. I know.
It's back.
Oh, it's back. Yeah, I saw it. Thank you. Simon, no, go.
it's okay. I don't remember.
No, Simon. So what's really crazy too is it's like you're saying in the stock world, which is regulated, that is insider trading.
Oh, 100%.
And they're all going to
Yeah.
jail for
Yeah,
Martha
yeah.
Stewart went to jail for that. That is 100%.
Oh, what I was gonna say was remind me about Martha Stewart.
Okay.
But now I lost it. Anyways, Martha Stewart. We'll just go to that. Have you watched that documentary?
No, Mary was watching.
It's on
I saw it.
Netflix right now. That's just another one of those situations where we were all totally misled by what was going on by the media. And when you actually look at what was happening, the same people who were like, lock her up would have been so outraged if you had it's kind of like the Menendez. You know what I mean? Like, if we knew all that stuff from behind, we wouldn't have been on these kids. You would have been like, this is horrible. Like,
I never thought they should have locked her up. First of all, it's just like Trump, like insider trading. They all do this. You're going to lock Martha Stewart up?
It's even worse than that, though. Like, what she does is, dude, the whole thing is I don't know why they were trying to prove some point. It was, I don't know.
Elliot Spitzer.
Insider trading laws are almost a joke in the sense that like there needs to be a paper trail, and often these guys are just at bars together.
Do you remember him, Elliot Spitzer?
Who's Elliot Spitzer? Come
He
on.
was the DA for New York City.
Okay.
And he was going to take down all of Wall Street. Then they busted him because he was going to prostitutes. I mean, all those Wall Street guys were doing prostitutes well, but he was going to clean up that. You know, everyone has good and bad, and they took him down. And they said he was going to be president.
Can't even enjoy a good whore anymore, huh? This used to be a country.
But what it looks like, this corrupt guy, it's like everyone has skeletons in their closet. Wall Street would do anything, just like Occupy Wall Street, where all this started.
I read the best fucking story the other day. So there was a guy who was an early investor. He was he was on the board of directors at Enron, and he loved strippers. I think a lot of the Enron guys were going to strippers, and he fell in love with this specific stripper, and he started fucking her, and his wife found out. So his wife divorced him immediately. And because his wife divorced him, he had to liquidate his entire Enron portfolio. He had to liquidate everything to pay her off her half. And because he liquidated, he sold, I think it was like $250 million worth of Enron stock, like 4 months before the whole thing went belly up. This guy ended up marrying that stripper, and he lives on a huge plot of land that he bought in Utah. Like, what a great story.
That's really a stripper with a silver lining story. Eh?
Heart of gold. Heart of fucking gold. Everyone in that story made
God
that
he-
great.
Thank God he got caught.
That's so hilarious,
Dude, everyone-
The wife is thanking the stripper. The
Everyone
husband's
made
thanking the
out great,
stripper,
yeah.
The stripper's thanking the stripper. Like, fuck, man.
It's rare that
always nice
three
when
wrongs
that-
make a right, isn't it?
Yeah, that karmic math usually doesn't work.
No,
out,
never. I read that and I was like, it's heartwarming.
Yeah,
It
that's
really
crazy.
warms the cockles.
What a crazy fucking well, I mean, it's simulation shit. That just
yeah.
anyways.
Is that it, Kamar?
Yeah, I rated it 2.5.
Oh, you've already rated it. I'll give it a 2.
And I'm gonna have to follow suit again on that too.
All right. We're going to take a break. We're going to pay a bill, and we will be right back.
We are back, folks. It was a really good break. I think I made some winning tickets. Like to thank all the Patreons once again, and
Probably BetterHelp.
BetterHelp, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
probably BetterHelp. And we are back.
Come on, name and a number.
Hey guys, we are back.
Last week, he says, Simon, you thought this was a good point, right? I listened to our episode back. It was so funny, dude.
2029, Jeff Dye.
He's such a weird sycophant for Elon.
Yeah.
Jeff Dye?
No, you.
You.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's got to be on his side.
Yeah. Leon, he's my man.
I love Leon.
Are people complaining about the rules instead of playing the game?
Weird.
That was I quoted Jeff Dye there. Pull yourself together for God's sakes,
Oh
man.
my God. Okay, let's start this whole thing again. And we're back.
And we're back. Where were we? People complaining about the rules instead of playing the game of life.
Who was he alluding to?
Affirmative action, DEI. Help me. You can't think of any situations. The systemic racism.
Well,
The prison complex.
sorry. This was the comedian Jeff Dye we're talking about.
And that's what he's open with.
I also love how you press Kamar on one simple thing. Give me an and he just starts sweating. You can see him like pulling at his collar, like, oh man.
There's literally tears
Prison
coming out of his eyes.
complex, big tobacco,
Inequality.
DEI.
Help me out
Yeah.
here, Simon.
Anybody, please. I'm fucking buried here.
Oh, that's
And
showbiz,
when
babe.
I ask you for help, you laugh in my face. So that's sort of where I'm at.
That is showbiz, yeah.
The monkey bars were crazy.
It's peas and you're throwing bees at me.
The monkey bars were crazy. Don't forget,
Here we go.
never mind.
Yes, there we go.
Never mind. Yeah.
please,
No,
that's-
I'm done.
I just knew. It's
ahead,
actually
Kumar.
in my notes as soon as Kamar mentions monkey bars. Matt
Do you remember
goes on a
going
long
from-
diatribe about falling off a jungle gym?
I like that. Just like Kamar, you laugh at your own shit with a fake forced laugh.
But do you remember going
Do
from being
these
able to
tears look forced to you,
Yes,
Matt?
they do. Yeah.
you used to be able to like go arm and arm and
Yeah.
arm, and then one day you could walk on top of those.
Yeah.
You'd be hanging, and a kid be walking, and be like, "That's just crazy."
You used to go arm to, I would go arm to middle. The arm.
Same difference. Same difference.
No, that's a weak man's.
Oh, is that what you're saying? That's
Yeah,
a
you
cuck-
have to be
that's
pretty.
A cuck way
You
to
have to
go
be
across?
pretty strong.
Yeah, this
to,
guy does multiple trips for his groceries for sure.
Ow.
And he also echoed.
I actually have the Sabbath goy bring the groceries up.
Obviously, yeah.
He echoed Simon's sentiment about how we had our own realities before social media.
Okay.
We
I think we have our own realities now more than ever.
we were doing much better in our own life, though, with less to compare to
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
as we were going forward. And that idea of what would someone on the range, as it were, be thinking about when one has time to ponder. The cows are away, the wife's with the kids, and you're sitting out. Are you wondering about the Catholic Church, what's going on over there at the time? Say this is the 1800s.
Couldn't you argue though that and let's take children out of it because I don't think it's good for kids, but for adults, don't you think a little bit of that's good? Like, did you ever read the Robb Report? You know what I mean? Like,
I never. What is the Robb Report?
oh, it's that stupid rich man's like this private jet is 35 million, that sort of thing.
No.
Yeah. Well, the idea is simple. Most of us can't afford that shit, but you want to strive to do it. Like it's like following Dan Bilzerian.
Who was it this week? I think it was someone else. Maybe it was in the other episode. Was talking about Dan Bilzerian, like how ridiculous that guy is, and he has been on. There's moments when people refer to, and Joe could, or maybe he doesn't recall that he's had them on and could comment on it.
I think he realized he had Balzerian on. He didn't have anything nice to say about him, that's for
Just
sure.
didn't say anything at all. This was a bit of a agree-a-thon, this episode. Do you?
Not if you agree.
Yes, it was, Kamar. I do agree. It was an agree-a-thon. I'm not hitting the button. I'm not reaching for anything.
Jeff went to push back on the white privilege myth that started back in Saturday Night Live and Eddie Murphy. I mean, that's like the classic skit.
Go on. Which one?
You don't remember when he's needs a loan or something, can't get it, so he dresses up in whiteface and he goes all around New York City and they just
I don't
give him
remember that,
money.
no.
I've
and-
never seen that.
No way. Really?
Way.
What
mean,
a
the
silly Negro.
The Chappelle Show did a sketch, like pretty much along the same lines, where it was like, what if we treated drug dealers the way they treat blue collar criminals, and they flipped it. So it was like a guy and his wife laying in their like 4-bedroom beautiful Hamptons house, and like The cops kick in the door. They throw in a flashbang. You hear Bill Burr yell out, "Shoot that fucking dog!" They shoot the dog in the corner. And then when they go to arrest the drug dealer, they're like, "Leon, we're arresting you. We were wondering if you could come in Thursday." And he's like, "Oh, Thursday's no good for me." That's not a touchdown, Kamar. See, this guy does suck. Like, I put the game on for him, and all of a sudden now he doesn't even respond to things you say. He just reads his notes when he knows you're done talking.
You broke the code.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
It fucks everything.
That's not show business.
That's the opposite of show
Sorry.
business. baby.
The robot that is Kamar. That's how he
That's
works.
hit the road business.
That's real life, baby.
Oh, well, one of the things they brought up, and I can't know if I can explain this, but they brought up
Whoa, you can't know if you can explain this?
Al Gore and climate change.
Yeah.
If I could explain who I was at that time and how I thought it was a really powerful movie, and like, wow, this is almost, hey, it's too late at this point, but
Maybe next time.
this is an important issue.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And also, I remember thinking Michael Moore is the guy. He's the little guy who's exposing the truth on corporations and
Yeah.
stuff. Just growing up, what access I would have had to anything. Michael Moore was for sure a hero, and Al Gore, I guess, especially because it felt like the Republicans were evil back then, and they stole the election in Florida, and all that is
No,
But
don't.
hold
you-
on, they were evil,
You
and they
can't. Yeah,
did
you can't
steal
sit
the
here and be like,
election.
because I feel this way now, that stuff didn't happen.
No, we
That's
can't
not
say
how
that.
this
They're
works.
just rewriting
No,
history
no.
right in front of our face.
none of the predictions that Al Gore made have come to fruition.
Okay.
Michael Moore is now a Democrat, which has become the machine. It's just, I think I've actually stayed sort of the same this whole time. I don't think I've gone crazy, to my detriment or not. And I don't think you have known me long enough.
Couldn't Al Gore also look at you and go, "It didn't happen because of my movie"?
Check and mate.
Well, I mean, they say they fixed the ozone layer.
But you get what I'm
by
saying?
stopping
Kamar,
to use spray cans.
Kamar, I don't think that's the truth. I'm just saying that he could.
Yes, well, I say nothing when you say a good point.
So sorry. Do you think Al Gore was like this mastermind behind, or did he actually believe that stuff?
I think Kamar's contention is that there's potential that he was heavily invested in said industries that would benefit from making a.
It was in his
Yeah, so
interest
it was
to,
a scam.
It's almost like
right
a
from the
propaganda
start.
film in a way.
Well, no. As you're asking that question, I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope it never let a crisis go to waste. As we've heard that quote a couple times from Rahm Manuel. Excuse me.
Never let a crisis go to waste, as we've heard from Rahm Manuel.
So we got into it last week, and turns out I was right. Kamala did not pay for endorsements. It was a loophole with appearance fees.
Did one of us say that didn't happen?
No, my contention was, and in all fairness to Kamar, I just don't know if they ever came to an answer on this show. They seem pretty undecided. Joe wanted it to be a certain way, but Jamie couldn't find the information. My contention was maybe not all, because now that I think back of it, people like Cardi B, Eminem, maybe those are just people cashing checks. I don't know. But guys like Mark Ruffalo, guys like people like Beyonce, I think those people probably did that shit for free.
It doesn't sound like they did.
Well, we know Mark Ruffalo did. He's
Simon's
like
really in it for Mark
No,
Ruffalo.
I just know he's one of those guys. Like, name me another one. Come on,
Eminem.
These Trump derangement syndrome guys that are like so far gone. The talk show host guy there is like that. Joe,
Lemon.
feet on the desk.
Michael Colbert. No, Bill Maher.
Colbert is a perfect example. Bill Maher, Jimmy Kimmel. Even to this day, like, you know what I mean? They're just
To this day.
they can't say a good word about him. He's nothing but a piece of shit, moron. You know what I mean? Even if he does something good, they can't give him credit for doing something good.
I'm listening. What do you, dude? This guy is literally
Yeah, I
not,
know,
and
I
you're
know.
super mad at
I'm
me.
not mad-
I'm looking
I'm
you in
not
the
mad at
eyes and
you.
listening to every word.
Well, no, you're supposed to apologize to me as well because you're like, but no, what?
I don't know.
He wants an apology from me for what?
Maybe
Yeah,
they,
for what?
Maybe they could pay for the travel, but if you're a star and you actually believe, what do you need this money for?
Here's how I think they should do it. I think they should put a cap, and I know this is very un-American. You're running for president. Your budget is $50 million. You get $1 million per state. Now, you can spread that out however you feel. So if you think there's 5 battleground states and you want to spend all your money in those, I'm fine with that. But cap it. It's too much spending on useless bullshit.
Yeah, but Kamar just
That's
made the
interesting.
point at the beginning. They just find a loophole, right? Like they're not hiring you to anything to do with the campaign. This is a speech you're going to do.
No, yeah, so make it loophole-less. Just get lawyers on it and say, listen, anything you do every election to loophole this, we will fucking close that. We will close that gap immediately. I just think it's too much spending. Like, dude, you could fix so much shit in your country. Instead, you're spending it on ads to be like, Kamala Harris is a dirty bitch.
For 100% of a chance that one of those people is going to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's just a lot of wasted spending.
And dude, listen, if you look at her spending versus Trump, if those numbers are real, which I assume they are, it's fucking staggering.
But it's back to this whole like Elon Musk thing. Like you said it last week. If this guy really, if his goal was to make this world a better place, if he really wanted to, at any time he could reach into his giant fucking money bag,
and help any
help
number of Americans.
all of these problems he has a problem with, and still have more money than God. He will never do that. Instead, now he's in. Did you see this thing where he's now the head of
cleaning
waste
up
management, let's call
Him
it,
and-
of the
him and-
swamp,
Efficiency.
and he's hiring people to do the job. Did you see the ad for it? The tweet he sent out, dude. It's so funny. It's like, I want to. This is for this and this, and you have to be able to do this, and you have to be anti-woke, and this whole thing. And then, what's the salary? Oh no, this is a volunteer position because
cool.
they can't waste the money. You know what I mean? It's all so fucking gross. Like I see what he's doing. You know what I mean? He doesn't fool me. This is the best part.
Must fool you.
This is the best part, dude. So he works for. I mean, he does so much work with the American government. He was doing that work for the Biden government for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
He knows that if Biden ends up winning, they can't then say, "Oh, well, you were supporting Trump, so we're going to pull your funding." That's not how it works with the liberals. You know what I mean? There's some term for it. They don't do it. It's like, it's just not done on that
I'm with
side.
you. I'm
Maybe
listening,
Trump
yeah.
does it. I don't know.
Okay.
Or maybe they do it on the right. I don't know. So he knows this, right? And then he also knows that if Trump wins, he's set to make so much money, which he already has. Like Kamar gave us the number last week, but that's like a drop in the barrel, right? Or in the bucket. He's set now to be able to fucking make any
it's a huge
regulation he wants for the industries he's involved in. Like
Such a huge conflict of interest, though.
it's such a huge conflict. No, but I'm just saying he was going to win no matter what. Like when we talked about him being a great businessman, I mean, ethically,
win-win
it
for him.
seems wrong, but leave that aside. He couldn't lose. He couldn't lose. No matter what happened, he was going to continue to suck off the government teat, which is so funny, right? Because
Well, that's it. He's never going to be like, well, we need to cut out things I'm
space
involved
travel.
in.
Are we ever going to get to
sub-
Mars? No, we can't even get through the Van Allen belt, but don't let that stop us.
Well, no, like even subsidies for all the shit he does for the green initiative. Like if they get rid of that, because Trump doesn't believe in any of that. He's big oil. So
what did I say last week? From tunnel building to
I don't remember.
something.
Kamar, you're excited. What's wrong? He's about to be right again. Kamar wants to put it. I also said,
You also said.
no, you. This is me doing you.
You agreed with me when I said.
I thought it was a point I made that was
Go ahead. What?
well received.
Yeah.
Earlier,
You're hilarious.
Joe talked about people endorsing people and earned media.
Yeah.
He said, I wouldn't do anything except put Trump on, which how much is that worth And like, how much did Kamala pay to get that earned media for free? So he's really in his pocket. And along this way, how about this?
Who's in whose pocket?
I don't know, Joe or Trump.
You're the one making the
how
point.
do you not know?
Joe's in Trump's pocket, or
Trump's in Joe's pocket?
who needs who more?
I don't know. You made the point.
Oh, I don't think either of them really need each other.
So how about like with Bert Kreischer's movie? Joe has never said what a
Hunk of
that
shit it is,
exactly. So now he has so many people he can hold accountable. In 4 years, if everything's in shambles, does he just say, I guess I was wrong about those guys too?
No.
He Bert Kreischer's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I don't know why you didn't understand what I was trying to talk about.
Oh, I think we all know why we didn't understand what you were trying to talk about. But go on.
Though that was the point.
I meant like continue to your next point in the notes.
Oh,
This guy's a fucking dude. Is this your first time?
Could you
This is-
expand on that a little for
This
us?
is episode 316. What are we doing here?
were you not surprised that he was a big fan of Bill Gates?
Yeah, but was he?
Who?
Jeff Dye.
Was he a big fan of Bill Gates?
He said he was. He said all the good things he does and how he's saved diseases and stuff.
Yeah, he saved diseases. Yeah,
And
so
Joe
that he
was
could
a
kill
bit of
us.
So that he could give them to innocent
Yeah, so that he
children
could give
in
them to
fucking
people in
Africa.
Yeah.
And we don't like that anymore.
He saved them from his biolab so he could give them to innocent people.
Have you seen that TED Talk clip that's like been scrubbed from the internet, where he's like, we're gonna fix overpopulation using vaccines?
Yes.
Yeah, if that's real.
Well, I mean, like, you don't have to look far back in the history of America to see a lot of eugenics talk.
Yeah, we should.
Like, no, I'm just saying a lot of those rich guys, a lot of the people who were really influent, the Kellogg's of
But
the world.
for the better of the whole, right? That's under the guise of
Well,
eugenic talk?
I assume so.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think they were like advertising it as just mass genocide, but
It's a tough sell.
it's a tough sell to your
yeah.
constituents
Yeah.
and your
You guys don't mind if we kill a bunch of people, do you?
we're just gonna pull this curtain back for you.
Is there a reason for it? No.
It's like I don't know what episode it was in when Joe was talking about it must have been the Navy guy when they were talking about not the Navy guy, the coffee guy, when they were talking about the secret bases. And he's like, and then you have this mountain base that looks like something that was out of a movie, like all because you don't think that I'm mature enough to know the truth. That's not like he knows better than that. You know what I mean? That's not why.
Yeah.
It's so that our enemies don't. If they tell Joe Rogan and the whole world, then everybody knows. Like it's just so obvious. He was like playing this position like they're stealing your rights by having secret bases. Well, if you want to be protected, then they need to have tech that their enemies don't know about.
Mohammed, how did you find out about our secret base? I listened to Joe Rogan Experience.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
Another interesting thing they talked
Mike
about
Baker told me.
in regards to industries that just you had it all and now you're nothing, like the Comedy Network.
Yeah, it's true. Did they have it all? When did they have it all?
Well, there's just, I guess it's the transition from cable
Television to
big
internet.
cable to internet, and just all the competitions ate everyone's lunch.
Just for Laughs is a good example of that, Kamar.
Just for Laughs was the only game in town.
They were the pinnacle at one point. Like if you got asked to Just for Laughs,
and then they went bankrupt. Again, I think that this is something of bureaucracy and just bloat, which is interesting. You brought up Elon and taking the efficiency route.
or it could just be a thing where look, sometimes there are going to be Kodak film developing businesses, and when something new comes along,
Great example, Simon.
Thank you. That goes by the wayside. Like that's how fucking technology works. That's how you know, we progress.
Well, no,
you can't keep everything. We'd be working, we'd have typewriter stores still, and there'd be nobody buying typewriter. It just doesn't, the market fucking regulates itself.
God, typewriter manufacturer. Goodbye.
I missed my paper ream delivery again.
Is
No,
there?
Go ahead.
No.
Well, no, I was just going to say, to your point, I think there's a lot of businesses that, like, unless you're a multi-billion dollar corporation, technology will almost always get to you.
Right, in one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, Amazon, usually it's by a specific thing.
Yeah. Industry interrupter.
The problem was that Amazon came around,
Yeah.
and they were everything, everything to everybody.
Yeah.
So in one foul swoop,
Yeah.
they
Fell.
took out. What did I say?
Foul.
It's one fell swoop, yes. Because God, I made fun of Kamar last week for for what?
Everything.
No. For a word that I thought I had been saying wrong
Yeah,
for my
I don't
whole
remember.
life.
I don't
I went
remember what
home.
it
I
was.
told Halima, I'm like, can you believe it's not this? She's like, are you fucking retarded?
Me and Halima agreed on something?
Last week, I made fun of you for a word.
Always.
I can't remember what it was. You said it wrong. Or
Crucible.
you used it. Definitely wasn't crucible.
Cherub.
That wasn't cherub either. Anyways, when we looked it up on air, you were right. I apologize.
Pandora.
Dude,
No, sorry. Cardamom.
I hate this guy so much. No, none of those words.
Okay.
It was a saying. Like,
Yes. The horse's tail.
that's right. The catcher in the rye, or whatever the fuck it was.
And I said the saying right?
You did.
I wish you remembered what that was.
Yeah, me too.
Jumping on the shark. Shrimp on the Barbie.
Okay,
Which
just
is
stop.
interesting
move on,
because okay.
Yeah, we're not doing this.
Shrimp on the Barbie.
You're not going into your shrimp on the Barbie routine.
No, it's interesting I did that just to
It's interesting I did that. I'm sure you'll agree with me when I tell
Yeah.
you.
Did you see what I did there? Quite interesting.
the Jets
Kamar,
Crumbled?
come on, man.
he was talking about pandering.
Like you're pandering to us right now. I see what you did there. That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
Quality move.
And does someone appreciate pandering or
No, nobody appreciates it.
but they
Yeah,
they
I like some
strive
pandering.
to succeed?
No, pander to me.
No,
Go ahead.
that is true. Everybody likes a
Hey,
little
Simon
pandering.
loves a little bit of
Yeah.
pandering.
Kamar did it earlier. He said,
How about that Bigfoot? See, you perked up immediately.
no, he said last week Simon said something that was right. And then he went on to say something that had nothing to do, but I was already locked
you
in.
were- yeah.
You know, the second I heard Simon is right,
Yeah.
I was nodding, I was engaged.
That is a good way to get Simon's
Yeah.
attention. Yeah.
Did you went and saw, pardon me, your last big show would have been Jimmy Carr and Jim Jeffries,
Yeah,
if I recall
yeah.
correctly. Do you feel there's any pandering there if you could recall?
No.
Are you going to go see Maniscalco?
No, I don't have tickets. No.
Would you go to see Russell Peters?
Would you go see Jelly Roll?
No and no.
Free tickets?
Free tickets?
Free tickets?
Oh,
If
you'd go
it's-
see Jelly Roll for free?
Do you have tickets?
I don't know. Well, you seem so uninterested
No,
in going.
I have zero interest in seeing Jello.
You can't leave and smoke.
I would be more interested in seeing a comedy show. The idea of going to a music show after going to Blues Fest this year and standing there while everybody looked like they were having the best time ever, and I just felt super awkward. I'd have no interest.
Yeah, you looked really awkward.
I don't think I'm meant
look really out
for,
of place.
for
No, yeah,
comedy,
you know,
for music shows.
You're not really meant for leaving the house in
Yeah.
general.
Agreed.
You'll never go to Blues Fest again, is that what you're saying?
No, I might, but I'm going to go to somebody that I like. Like, I like Nas, but I'm not like a huge Nas fan. I don't know most of his songs. That was the problem, Matt, is
Yeah.
that everybody was like singing songs that I had never heard before. You
Yeah,
know what I
no,
mean?
that
The
makes
community.
sense.
I need to go to like or I just have to be like ridiculously high.
That helps.
Yeah.
With
That's like
everything.
I was saying. If it's at
That
the
was pretty high.
if it's at the Canadian Tire Center, you can't leave and get high, so it's useless.
Yeah. It's tough.
That's what the vaporizer's for.
That's why Blues Fest is incredible, because you can just
Yeah,
spark
just
up a
sparking
joint
up joints
anywhere you
everywhere.
want.
No one gives a
So
fuck.
great. Anyways, enough about us.
And so, yeah, rate Jeff Dye. Episode.
Wow, we are just fucking breezing through.
2.5.
this thing, right?
Probably not really. It's fucking 2 hours into
He has
this
no-
episode.
he has no grasp of
yeah, he doesn't understand.
That's what I
I
understand
know,
right now.
yeah,
You're
it's
just like
crazy.
Joe and the next
Yeah,
guy.
it's fucking unreal. Yeah.
For me, it was an agree-a-thon. I don't think it was anything crazy to listen to. Just analogies and stuff. They had a bit of a pushback. I'll give it 3.
It was just boring. What did you give it?
2.5.
I will mimic that.
All right, Kamar, last one. Coffee and war. Mostly war.
2230 Evan Hafer. I'm just going to turn the chair around and get right to it. There's no room for Afghan buggery.
That was the very first thing they talked about was Afghan
Right. Well,
buggery.
because he had talked about it prior.
It felt like Joe brought it up right away.
Joe wanted to talk about the Afghan
Yeah.
buggery a lot.
Yeah, Joe was like, let's talk
And-
about Afghanis fucking boys.
I don't know if I'm using this. You can check with your wife later. It's like a red herring. But the failure of all those missions is undeniable at this point.
Yeah.
So no matter how crazy an appointment of Trump is, it can't be any worse than the people who are saying, trust us, we fucked everything up. You don't want to do what you're doing. We know how to fuck shit up. They'll fuck it up worse. That's the best value proposition they can give.
Yeah, I mean, it has been pretty hypocritical for, like, think about it. The same people who murdered JFK tell you, or not us, but them, like, no, just keep listening to us. We got your best interest
One time,
at heart.
It's
You
one
know?
time.
This guy was there to do the right thing that had never been done, and it was going to change everything. But just bear with, you know what I mean? We knew it was for the best, and
Definitely no secret society.
No credibility. No, my track record. Like, that was, what do you bring to the table? Well, look what I've done thus far. The idea of homeless kids is crazy to us.
Yeah.
You could not imagine being downtown Ottawa and just seeing kids running around knowing they were just living on the street trying to survive. Like, I believe he was talking about Afghanistan, Pakistan. Like, they have much less of a welfare system than we have.
Welfare.
And people really fall through the cracks, or it's just a different ballgame. And the money, one thing he talked
so what
about,
you're saying is Hamas isn't interested in healthcare.
Hamas isn't interested in healthcare. I mean, that's not even a discussion because they have the threats to their life. But I wonder if they have diabetes and the same.
No, but I'm
cancer
saying, like, so
rates.
a place like Palestine, Hamas is the ruling governing body.
Yeah.
Like, they were voted in there.
Yeah.
That's so. Does Hamas? Do they have a program in place for homeless children?
If they are women,
They must. 'cause
they are
happen.
taken care
Oh,
of.
you think there are no homeless children in Palestine?
There must be, but I mean, I'm sure there's families that lost a kid. Maybe they pair them up. I don't think it's as stringent. Like, the ability to adopt here is very difficult and expensive.
I like that Kamar thinks that Hamas has something in place where it's like, oh, you've lost a family member? Let's place you with
this is what I'm saying. I'm
this
trying to,
family
like,
who's lost a child.
These places that are run by militant bodies, there is no health care. There's no fucking.
We don't know.
they're
We,
not-
we don't know. We don't know what there is. We don't.
Oh no, you're right. It could be a Shangri-La over there. You're absolutely right. I don't. No. I'm being totally serious. I don't know. I only know what they show me.
We do know there's buggery.
I don't know if there's buggery. I have to take Evan Hafer's fucking word for it.
Now, Adrian Appalucci talked about it. She had a thing for banging veterans, it appeared. And he said that every day you're on a full adrenaline dump. Going through these towns, running once around that corner. As I have mentioned before, that's sort of like what it's like driving an armored car. Maybe not in Ottawa.
You've driven an armored car?
I have
Yeah,
not.
of course
I
he
have not,
has.
I have not. But if I did, if that was your job, and maybe not.
He just said, like I'd mentioned before.
Yeah,
Like
it's like
he
dri-
had driven
yeah.
the armored truck.
Yeah.
But I still mentioned.
Like I'd mentioned before when I mentioned before that it was like driving an armored.
Do you concur?
No.
Emphatically.
With the armored truck thing?
Ergo, vis-a-vis.
With that job,
Yeah, it must be crazy. I can.
and that's in an urban setting. That's your.
Do you think that, like, if you're in World War II, there are days where you're like you forget that your life is on the line? Or are you just constantly aware that like a bomb can come at any second and you're just fucking fodder?
I mean, I would imagine that depending on how long you've been there, like if you've been there a year, I think at that point you might be a little numb to it. Like you're still aware, of course, that any day could be your last. But
I mean, like,
you're not as on edge as you were for the first month, right?
You know when you watch Band of Brothers?
Yeah.
And I think it's actually in the second one, the
Pacific
one
one.
with Sledgehammer.
Yeah.
So they're coming in as a unit is leaving. You know what I mean? To replace them. So those guys have no concept of what they're getting into, obviously.
Yeah.
That was what that whole thing was about,
Yeah.
right? When you first get there. My point was the first group, they came up on the beach. They didn't have a chance to know anything. They were thrown completely into war, to bombs being dropped,
talking
to
about Normandy.
millions of people dying and being killed, as opposed to these guys who are coming in knowing what's about to happen to it. It might even make it worse, you know? Like it's less dangerous because you don't have to storm the beaches, but you have this knowledge of how many people died on those beaches.
I mean, do you though? It's not like you're talking about like you're thinking about it like the way we live today. They might not have found out for months after.
You know, because the guys coming back are telling you.
Yeah, I guess,
that was
yeah.
the scene, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They were like, how many people died? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you see my brother? He's dead.
They all sound like clowns.
He said, and I thought this is the poignant quote of the week, probably. In the attitude in serving and being in a team, like a SEAL team or whatnot. The attitude is that if you don't have anything to say to solve the problem, shut the fuck up. Psychology is more contagious than the flu. So one thing that helps you succeed, especially in a cover mission, killing people stuff, is no one ever is. You're always stoic.
You know what? I didn't
Yeah.
think so until, well, or I guess a really good example of that is the whole, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I changed my mind. I changed my mind.
That's why we don't make eye contact.
I'm going to save you a hard edit.
What is happening?
That's
here?
why we don't make eye contact. And
I was going to say, you know what?
I know. Looking at the justice system being used against Trump, no one can argue that's not happening. Versus, I mean, what he's guilty of and the consequence for Iraq, because this guy is Afghanistan and Iraq. And the whole thing about them not knowing anything about it. Again, these are the people who are saying what Trump is doing, you do not want that. Emphatically. No? You're nodding.
I mean, you're talking about a war that started 20 years ago, and you're saying it's all the same people. I don't know that that's necessarily true. Like AOC wasn't around 20 years ago.
No, it's
no,
the same military complex. that drives her.
It was Donald Rumsfeld in the Iraq War. Do you remember him? And do you remember when
Yeah, Republican, yeah.
and you see him in Vice, what a greasy guy he is?
My question to you, though,
Well, they
again, though, is what you're saying is that the Republicans back then are the ones that are holding Trump?
No. I'm saying these people were revered as the experts, the experience. They've been around this, and they were the ones fucking this up. That this guy's coming in and confirming that they made the biggest mess.
Well,
you
hold
weren't-
on.
wait.
I don't think they fucked it up. I think
they
they
did exactly what
achieved
they-
exactly
yeah, I was just
what they
thinking that.
wanted to. We have to. Well, first of all, the American people want retribution for 9/11, and at the same time, we're going to depose of this guy and steal all his oil. And then we're going to go into Iraq.
We're all going to get really
and
rich, too.
We're going to rebuild it, and all our what's his name's companies.
And then they're going to
Not
topple our
Rumsfeld,
towers.
the other one. Cheney's companies then get the deals to rebuild it. Like they won. They fucking did it.
Yeah, that's why when you were saying that, I was like, it looks bungling to us, the taxpayer. Well, we don't pay taxes there, but if you're an American taxpayer, yeah, you'd be like, they fucked it up.
And
but if you're in on it, you're like, oh, they did everything to a T.
You know how you know they really won, Matt? Because right now, today, it's being whitewashed over as George Bush being a great president. Like nobody even fucking remembers that they stormed in there for no reason.
Exactly my point.
No, that wasn't your point.
That was
It was
your
my
point.
point to a T.
No, you tried to make it about Donald Trump.
No,
Yeah, you did. You started it off by saying these same people that are railroading Donald Trump using the justice system are the same people that went into Afghanistan. That's what you said.
And are yeah, exactly. That's
So,
No,
so
not yet.
sorry, you
No.
think that because Cheney endorsed Kamala?
what does that mean?
No, that's not what he meant. You brought up a good point. If that's what he was trying to say, but that's not what he was trying to say.
That's not what
No.
you're trying to say.
That's a great point.
If I said it and you agree with it, then it was a great point.
Hilarious.
But that was weird. Him switching and
Huge
going
red
for
flag.
Kamala.
Huge
That's
red
odd.
flag.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good
very
point
weird.
I made.
No, but that really is like you said it last week, Matt. Well, you didn't. I kind of added to it. But the whole idea that you don't even notice the sides changing.
That was totally me. That was not you at all. Yes.
No. I said it takes longer. You were saying it's shorter now because of technology. I mean, we were both correct.
Simon's a very tough guy to get along with lately.
We were both
Let me tell
correct
you
for
that.
sure.
You made a very provocative
Some of us
point.
more than others. I mean, that's showbiz.
Get to your next point.
Well, no, one of the things he brought up, and this goes back to Elon, the Savior, Lord and Savior.
Why are you turned to me again? What's going on
He
here?
can't help himself. He
No,
loves you.
because Simon sees through me.
But there's a
He
camera
loves you.
right there.
You're a professional. He acts like I'm cool. The Pentagon's budget is like overblown, not managed.
Yeah.
You can't do that as a person. Like government is the only institution that can just run at a loss, someone else's problem. It's really a scary machine when you look at it.
It's
Anyone's
crazy that
government.
any politician has the balls to look at a taxpayer and be like, I think you need to just pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Yes,
It's like,
yes.
well, wait a minute. You spend on my credit card like it's going
paying
out
for
of
his
fucking
children
style.
to go to the orthodontist.
Yeah.
Someone steal it from me, Sharon.
All
But-
I got is fucking Floyd.
Oh, no, wrong one. Shit.
What are we doing here? Why not give him a shot? Again, Joe's in the sphere. It's going to happen. If Matt Gaetz does a good job, is you like, what do I know? Is there ever a moment in life where you will not have a what do I know moment after everything you've seen up to this point?
I mean, the problem is this is like, I shouldn't know or care who the attorney general is, right? Don't do this. Look what he's doing now. Now he's making it obvious he's looking at the camera. Like, my point, Kamar, is like,
Not so professional.
Could you name another attorney general in the past?
Jenna Reno, which is interesting. She was Waco. And then it was Eric Holder, who was the Fast and the Furious. Is that a...
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe you. I have to believe you because I
Eric
don't
Holder
know
was-
any.
Eric Holder was Obama's.
Who was it Rice, the black lady who was like
Condoleezza Rice.
Condoleezza
Secretary
Rice.
of State.
She was Secretary of State.
So that
She was part of that whole
Yes.
Rumsfeld
Yeah,
crew.
Condi.
Well, and it just comes back to this. Are there really qualifications for these fucking things? Because that's the talking point now is these people are not qualified. Trump doesn't know what he's doing. And it's like, well, the people who were qualified have made a perfect, well, no, according to you guys, have done exactly what they wanted to do. But it's really made a mess of the world in general.
It was interesting about the when they were talking about Colin Powell,
Yeah.
and how to sell the Iraq war, they had to send him in to say it because he was so well respected that nobody would question him on it because he was, pristine.
Yeah.
And he had to go in and say weapons of mass destruction, all of that. Like, you remember that. I remember that speech.
Yeah. I mean, in his defense, they could have shown him Fugazi. They could have shown him whatever they wanted. Like, he doesn't have to be in on it. Like, we do this thing where everyone's in on it. What I'm saying is, like, when they originally get Colin Powell in on it, they could easily show him a bunch of fucking satellite photos
images, yeah.
and just and say, this is this is that, and we picked up high levels of rating.
For sure. I get most of my information about this from the movie Vice.
Fair enough.
According to that movie, he kind of knew what was going on,
Sure.
but you're absolutely right.
He was following orders.
He was following orders.
Simon, I'm
knew
just
it
doing the allegedly thing and
Yep.
playing Diablo Avocado. There is
I think that is totally possible. I don't think those guys gave a fuck about convincing Colin Powell of anything. They just went in and said, this is what you're doing.
More likely than not. Yeah. Listen, if
You
think,
don't have a
If you think I'm
choice.
trying to defend Dick Cheney and George Bush, I'm not.
I don't. But I listen, Matt. I'm in agreement with you. So many things I believe are based on very flimsy evidence that was presented to me a long time ago that I've based my whole value system around. Like it's like a house of cards. It's easy to pull down this.
The whole thing's falling apart.
All to come around to tie it to this idea, and we've discussed in the past,
A thorough line.
fear of the big bear.
Yeah. Fear of the big bear.
The big bear. What's the big bear?
Well, when you try to go back to what did Russia do to us that they are now the enemy?
Right.
And there is actually no flashpoint for that. They are only an ally, and then became a enemy through propaganda and a space race. An arms race, of course.
Is it possible that, like, we always assume that they were made the enemy by the Americans because they needed to have an enemy?
Who were made the enemy?
The Russians or whoever. I mean, in this case, the Russians. We also know that they work together on space stuff and the Mir state. Maybe they just came to an arrangement, you know what I mean? Like that whole Cold War was whoever was in charge and whoever was in charge saying, look, we're both in the exact same situation. We need to have our countries rally behind us to build up these whatever military arsenals and blah, blah, blah. Why don't we say that you're against us and we're against you? We know that we're never really going to shoot any bombs at each other ever.
Yeah, we can just bilk all our people.
And
with
we
money.
can, it's like the ultimate Ponzi scheme or pyramid scheme. I don't know which anymore because
I rocked your world.
no, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That really would make sense. And if you look at it in that regard, and then you start walking backwards from the Cold War, you're like, well, this totally all makes sense then, right? If they're in on it together.
You're changing the shit compartment on the space station, like about that or Ukraine thing. Just broach the conversation that way. No, it's the same as Antarctica.
Yeah.
Oh, and not the Arctic, which seems up for grabs, and we're really dropping it. Connection to God. Do you think it has to be curated by humans?
As opposed to animals?
It's just so hard to tell, but there was a time before.
And what do you mean curated?
Well, it's told to you by a human being. The word of God is told to you by a human being.
Well, somebody hears it from God.
Telephone. Say
and
there was a time
telephone.
before that, the great being, the sound in the sky, what would it be? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. I mean, according to, let's call it ancient history, God had messengers. Those messengers would come down and talk to you, right? The angels, sub-gods, all that stuff. Like Zeus didn't really, if he was the big god, he didn't come down from the mountain. He sent Hermes and Ares and, all that. I don't know. That's whatever.
No, but how about like it? How do you get around that?
Well, but it's interesting how because you're an atheist.
No, I'm agnostic.
Agnostic. Sorry, I'm sorry.
What's the difference?
Well, atheist is like you're staunchly like there is no God, there cannot be a God. Agnostic is more like I just don't even give a fuck.
You just don't have a religion, but you believe in a higher power.
I believe in the potential that there could be something. I'd like to.
You never pray to anything like inside your head for a bet to win or like, I bet you're praying to God all the time.
Yeah, but why? Like again, just because.
Well, because then you acknowledge there's something there. You wouldn't be asking him or her for help if you didn't really think there was something there.
No, but like Kamar's saying, that's just baked into like even atheists are like, oh man, I fucking pray we win this. That's like saying I pray we win this is almost like a colloquialism.
I don't think atheists say that though, because there is no prayer for atheists.
Okay, but again, it's a colloquialism is what I'm saying. Like people just say, oh man, I pray that we win this or like it's like saying
so
just hear me out. It's like if you say, oh my God, like I'm sure atheists occasionally say, oh my God. It doesn't mean that they're like, you can't be like, gotcha, like
you're about to have a baby.
Yeah.
You are going to pray to something.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I 100% guarantee it.
Okay.
So you do believe in something. That's just what I'm saying. You're not really agnostic.
Why? Agnostic still falls into that
Does
fucking
it?
category.
Okay,
100%.
fine.
Change gonna come.
Change gonna come. This guy's gonna be Catholic before you know it. They're gonna be going to church every
Well, no,
Sunday.
You act like you're super religious. You have 2
I'm
kids.
not religious at all, but I'm very spiritual.
Okay, so it sounds like you're agnostic, and
No,
maybe you need to
I'm-
shut the fuck
That
up.
was so
I'm
ick.
not agnostic.
Then what are you?
I believe in God. Do agnostics believe in God?
Sure, but wait a minute. You just said you're not religious, but you believe in God.
Well, because God is all religions. It's everything. You know what I mean?
So you might
All
believe in
the
Allah for all you know.
I don't know what God is.
Yeah,
it
fair
might
enough.
have
Yeah.
it might have all those names.
That sounds
Matt.
like
What
agnostic.
makes more sense to me is that all these people are praying to the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like ultra religious actually because I believe in all of the
You're-
religions
You're
except
Orthodox.
except Islam. I mean, I would just joking.
Were you ever baptized? Did you ever go to
Scientology, I
church?
don't believe in it. I kind of believe
sing
in
a
it.
song or pray. Matthew,
He's talking to you, man.
Say that again.
did you ever get baptized?
Yeah.
Oh,
You did get baptized.
Yeah.
So you're super
You're
religious.
Catholic. Jesus Christ.
Okay. You guys act like it's so funny. What happened to me when I was 3?
I-
Oh,
Dude,
here's a better
not your fault.
question.
It's not
Here's
your
a better
fault.
question. Are you going to baptize your child?
I don't know.
Ask somebody.
Ask God and get back to us.
Fucking hilarious.
So that's the true test, right? Like, you know how I'm religious, Matt?
How?
Because I had my son circumcised. That's how you know I'm religious.
That's how you know he's
I
religious.
I did that for God.
Yeah.
You're just an outlaw. You're a fallen angel. But
Why?
you're Catholic, just like me.
Sure. Yeah, I'm 100% Catholic.
If
I was baptized.
I
What do you
know
want
the
from me?
choice.
Yeah.
I
He's
want nothing.
100% Catholic.
But you act like when they dip your head in water, you come out and you're like, I have been chosen. And then from
you
that day
didn't?
forth, you just pray and you're.
Are both your parents Catholic, or were one of them something? Was one of them Protestant and one of them was something?
Couldn't tell you.
Like Big Mike must be.
Who knows?
He's Italian, right?
No.
Oh
My
no,
dad, no.
Your mom was Italian.
But
Your
Italian,
dad
Irish.
is-
My dad is. They're just like Irish,
Oh,
Scottish.
really? Eh?
Yeah.
I thought for sure your dad was Italian. Okay, interesting.
Floyd? Do you think Floyd's an Italian name?
Floyd.
No.
Or they
Italian
probably
names-
cut it down at
at
you were
Ellis
probably
Island? Yeah.
Florida-Reno.
Yeah.
And then they cut it down at
Yeah.
Ellis Island.
I was gonna say most Italian names end in a vowel. That's like a dead giveaway. Not in a D.
Yes, Kamar.
He's carrying
Please.
the one.
do you think, or is it a good idea or a bad idea for the SEAL teams to go in and try to eradicate the cartels?
Dude, that
Evan was
sounded
very excited
like
about
the
it.
best fucking movie ever. And do you think that's true what he said?
What? That it would take them 6 months?
That if they send in the American army, it's over, immediately.
If you send in the American army, of course it's over immediately.
You don't think it's going to end up being like an Afghanistan thing where
Thank
they're
you. Oh, no,
hold on.
like,
No,
in
wait,
the
wait,
mountains
stop.
and fighting on their own turf
Yeah.
and they own all the towns?
No,
and
no,
like,
no.
How do you fight against that?
You're missing my
Like,
point.
unless you bomb the whole place.
I think they come in, they
Total
wipe out
destruction.
like the power structure that is, and then there's a massive vacuum once they leave. Unless they're going to stay in Mexico permanently, what are you going to do? Like again, they have the first thing they have to do is legalize all drugs and then go in. Because you can't just keep propping up the market and expect that it's going to end, right?
Well-
you have to declare. You also then have to get the Mexican government to agree to let a foreign army come in. And then what? That army decides who's part of the cartel and who
Well, I
not
mean,
without a judge, jury, or...
Mexico's own government has been fighting the cartels ineffectually for a long time.
I
Maybe
agree.
they would relish the idea of the Americans
I do
coming
think
in.
they have.
I'm just
But I think a lot of
putting
them are
that out
bought and
there.
sold
I think it's
by
if
said
you
cartel.
think Americans are corrupt?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're asking...
Child.
You're asking people that are paid
Well, you
by
know
them.
what? At least in that case, though, like the criminals are out in the open. You know that the cartels are dirty and they're running everything. Here, the cartels are running everything, but they call themselves the government, and we have to pay taxes to them. I guess you pay taxes to the cartel too.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
So my last pile on Kamala, as we're talking about all these things, is she could not run her campaign, clearly. She ran into the ground. How could she be qualified to run the country? All these people are
Wait, you
saying,
don't run your own campaign. You have a campaign manager.
hold your pause.
You make all the decisions. I watch enough Veep. You're the
I
bottom
forgot.
line.
I forgot that you know. Yeah.
Insider.
Go ahead. Sure.
We all agree she's not qualified. She can't stand on business.
But your argument is okay. So if Trump lost his last election, does that mean he's not qualified to run the country?
And Kamala didn't seem any less qualified than Biden. Like, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but hear me
Can
out.
you answer my question? Trump lost an election. Does that mean that he is not fit to run the country?
Well, according to him, he never lost.
he
it. According to Rudy Giuliani, he
in
definitely
all
lost it.
fairness to the asterisks, Matt,
Yeah.
Pete Rose.
did he
sure.
lose?
My point being is,
Barry Bonds, I think, is what you mean.
in one sentence, someone is telling you Kamala Harris is qualified to be president,
Yeah.
and Donald Trump is voting people who are not qualified to be president. That person who's telling she's not qualified to be president, we agree, or we don't agree. We don't. Agree.
We don't agree. Why is she not qualified? I don't think she would have been a good president.
That means
she
you're not
obviously
qualified.
What
Qualified to be a good president.
no.
What
Then
qualification? Okay, hold on. Let's
lots of people
stop.
have been unqualified.
Let's hear-
What about Reagan?
What are your
What
qualifications?
about Reagan?
Come on, let's hear your qualifications.
I have worked as a server for 30 years.
Not yours. What are the qualifications for one to be president?
Yeah, let's hear them.
What do you got to do?
I believe you have to be over 35 years old.
No, I'm asking. Okay, fine,
You
sure.
have to be an American citizen. So I'm just saying, you guys aren't hearing it because you're too busy defending Kamala Harris.
no, see, this is what you're doing.
The same person who said Trump's picks are bad told you Joe Biden still's got it all and he's ready to go.
Kamar, listen.
One thing-
you
both
opened up your
cannot be
YouTube outside. You're the only one these people are talking to. We don't watch this shit. You're the one that watches CNN religiously. You're the one that watches MSNBC religiously. Simon and I don't care about this. We
You
don't watch
knew
this.
the names of like 4 attorney generals. I couldn't name you one. I didn't even know Janet Reno was an attorney general. I've heard her name a million times. Like,
Yeah, you could have told me she was the secretary of zoology. And I would have been like, yep.
I thought she was the mayor of Reno.
I wish they did not talk about it. Therefore, I would not have to tell you guys about it because you don't know what I'm talking about and explain this. I mean,
Wish I didn't have to talk to dummies like you
I
about
do.
things you don't understand.
but have you heard the argument of freedom versus security?
Go on.
Well, you have to give a bit of freedom for more security.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And is there just a absolute line, or are we just always finding what that is?
I mean, I find it weird that Americans talk about freedom versus security when they spend, I don't know, 50x what every other country spends on defense.
Well, that's security for the freedom.
And you are voting for the people who decide to spend 90% of your budget on the army, on the military. And they continue to do that over and over again. And up until Trump, in all fairness, nobody has come in and said we're going to spend less on the military.
And as for freedom of speech does not mean you get to go into a Burger King and yell the N-word. Freedom of speech means that you won't go to jail for going into a Burger King and yelling the N-word.
Interesting.
Well, is that not true? It just means persecution from the government. The government can't lock you up for whatever you say.
Right.
That's freedom of speech. Freedom of speech does not mean that you, a business owner, have to allow every Tom, Dick, and Harry who walks in to be able to say whatever they want. That's not how it's supposed to work. You as a business owner have a little bit of control over what you want, how you would like to mold your business. Now, keep in mind, if Joe wants to say Elon saved free speech because of Twitter, I'm fine with that. I don't buy that personally. You don't have to use Facebook. In fact, if we want a free speech platform, then everyone should go over to Twitter and show us. But that most people I don't know. There's room for both. There's room for a Twitter where it's the Wild West, and I'm glad it exists. And then there's room for Facebook or Instagram where they have weird terms of services. And again, you don't have to agree to those. They offer it all up there and they say decline or accept, and we all accept, and then we bitch about it. Stop using Instagram.
You know what I would have respected from Elon?
Go on.
From Leon? If he had bought Twitter,
Yeah.
bastion of free speech, and said, I'm now going to let whoever, and I'm going to have nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Because then it doesn't seem so much like he's buying a pulpit.
But that's exactly what he did.
No,
It's no different than
I
fucking...
know, but that's what I'm saying. Like you can't Elon save free speech and also built himself the biggest microphone on earth. Like it just,
I mean, in his defense, the biggest microphone on earth was already built and in place, and he just became the biggest follower, like the most followed person on it. It had nothing to, like, in his defense, he didn't build the biggest microphone. Someone else built it.
right. Well,
and he became.
sounds a lot like Tesla.
Well, I'm just saying, like, when Jeff Bezos, it's weird because if someone were to say to Joe, you know, when Jeff Bezos bought Washington Post, like, hey, do you think this is going to save free speech? Do you think this is good? He'd be like, no, I probably don't think that a billionaire businessman buying a news organization is a good idea.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when Elon does it, Joe's like, immediately saves free speech.
Like
And I'm just like,
I guess say what you want about Jeff Bezos. He built
yeah,
Amazon
He did, yeah.
from the ground fucking up.
Well, and Zuckerberg built Facebook.
From
But what's the difference? I was
No,
thinking about that the other day. Jeff Bezos had an idea and it took off, and now he's handed over to CEOs that are running for him, right?
Well, he just handed over a few years ago.
But he had a good idea and he got off the ground. But
well, a little more than that.
his ventures after that have sort of flubbed.
Have they?
Which ventures?
Well, I don't even know
Is
what
it
he's ventured
Blue,
in.
the Washington Post. What else is he?
Well, the Washington Post, I think you're looking at
That
it the
didn't
wrong way.
flub
That's,
at all. That's a lost leader for him.
yeah, that's advertising money.
Okay, so
Yeah.
why is he not regarded in the same? Because he's sort of like a happy medium between Bill Gates and Elon. If we have to find our most palatable billionaire,
Nobody
say that?
gives him a hard time.
so he's the one. I'd rather you complain about Bill or Elon, and he also makes at least waves. Could we say that?
I don't know.
Sure, I guess.
I don't know. I think the only thing that sets Elon apart is, despite the
My
the
point.
snake oil he's selling, he keeps. trying
My
to do
point
stuff.
was he wasn't given an already existing business. He wasn't even giving it an already existing book business. You know what I mean? Which Amazon started as. He said, I'm going to sell books. I don't like the way that's being done. I can do it better. I can put that, you know what I mean? And then had to convince everybody to wait 15 years or 20 years is, I don't know.
I mean,
They're
Elon,
all evil. Don't get me wrong.
Elon
I
did
just-
start PayPal in his defense.
I don't know if that's true.
He was there from the beginning.
Yes. It was very reminiscent.
He was ousted, I believe.
It was very reminiscent of Microsoft.
Okay.
Well, that was Jeff
the
Dye's
whole
point.
the whole starting in a garage. Like they didn't even bother to change the backstory.
No,
It was
Jeff Dye said Bill had to work on the computer more than anyone else did. That was his contention.
Had
There,
to
there
work.
was an extreme amount of hard work as well as
By Microsoft?
opportunity provided. Exactly.
I have heard completely differently that his mother was a humongous player in Washington, and that was given to him by the U.S. government as like one of those, we have to push this forward, but we can't do it.
But then you could make the same argument about Apple because it was funded by Ross Perot.
I think you probably could. Well, except Ross Perot wasn't part of the government.
No, but he ran eventually. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
but
like,
he didn't win.
yeah, but he was still okay, fine. But would that not still make him like part of the machine or the government?
No, Ross Perot was Ross Perot was Trump.
I understand that he
Yeah.
didn't win, but he still wanted to get into
No.
politics.
I'm saying
I understand that he
he
was a
wanted-
successful businessman first.
Sorry, that's not what I'm saying.
Fair
he
enough.
wanted to get into politics because he wanted to drain the swamp.
Yes.
That was his idea, right? Like he wanted to change the way shit
Yeah.
was going.
Yeah, and he took half the votes. I
He
remember.
thought it was corrupt.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know a lot about it. Again, remember, my opinions are painted by faulty narratives.
All of our
But
opinions
as I remember that Ross Perot thing, he was like the anti-candidate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again, they were all pissed because he took half the votes from whoever the fuck it was that year.
Because he ran as an independent. Yeah. And he was very wealthy. That's correct.
Yeah, he was very wealthy.
I thought it'd be interesting to look up, since we're always talking about Americans. Do you know? Think the number one? If you took a dollar,
Yeah.
one tax dollar, where it goes to, how it's divided up.
I said this a long time ago. No, the answer is no. I don't know.
Where does it go? If you took $1, divided it up, where does the majority of the money go?
I bet 70 cents goes to military.
Well, no,
7-0
Canada. We're talking
of
about Canada.
every
We're talking
dollar?
about Canada. We're
Oh, you
talking
said
about
an
Canada.
American
No,
dollar.
I said we always talk about Americans and how they're it's being managed, because this really what it comes down to is the people decide where money's spent, what's
Okay, so
I would
our
say
dollar.
30% goes to bureaucracy, 40% goes to healthcare. So we're at 70. Where's the other 30 go? Don't know.
what makes it interesting is there's
Do you have the answer? or
I
you
do
just asking?
have there's
Okay, give
there's
it to
federal
us.
taxes and there's then provincial
Well,
taxes.
forget provincial because provincial goes to things in your province at least.
It
Where
doesn't
does the
matter.
federal
Where does
taxes
The
go?
number one is 29.5%, and it goes to old age security and guaranteed income supplement and employment insurance benefits.
Okay, I like that. So go on.
Then 22.3%
30%?
funds to provinces, territories for healthcare, education, and social services.
So it's
that
another
still sounds
30
really good.
to, yeah, okay.
Then 11% goes towards the public debt. 6.4% defense. So not really a lot in comparison. 3% on public safety, 2.5% on health, 2.4% on indigenous services, 2.3% on employment and social development, and another 20.6% on bureaucracy. And that's what you got to get rid of.
Wow, that is a lot on
20.6%.
on pensions.
It's also EI and stuff. So like welfare. But right, you saw what I said. You see why I was like,
Well,
well,
I'd
30%
like to know.
is-
I'd like to know the split on that. Like, don't just lump it into one
I
category.
agree.
Tell me
Yeah.
what
How
is
much of
going
it is
to
old-
welfare,
yeah.
and tell me what is going to old age.
Or what is going to employment insurance? Is that under welfare? Because
But either
Well, no, it's
way,
re-
that seems like an awful lot of the $1 that goes to those two things.
But that's a weird one too,
And a
because the
growing one.
EI. But hold on, it's a weird one too because the EI in and of itself is like its
fluctuate.
own tax, right? Like everyone that works in this country pays into EI.
Yeah.
So whether you use it or not, like that feels like a
And you know what? EI really seems to me like one of those
EI for foreign listeners is employment insurance.
gift card scenarios. You know what I mean? Or insurance. Like the reason insurance companies make so much money is
They never
because
pay out.
they never pay out. First of all, you might go your whole life and never have an accident that needs a payout.
Yeah.
And if you do, they nickel and dime you to that. It's the same idea.
Well, Adrian seemed to think that if you begged them enough, they would do it for you.
She also, she was like, just phone and get a different guy. Like, that's not how it works. I've had to file insurance claims before for like the company when we had a flood and stuff. You get a person given to you. That person doesn't change. They're with you from the beginning to the end. You don't get to say like, oh, I don't like this adjuster. Give me another one.
Come on, you're forgetting too. Like think about it. Our house got robbed. Like we got cleaned out, and then they send this adjuster who is pretty much. And I get it. There's probably a lot of insurance scams, but your whole house has just been robbed and they're looking at you like you may be in on it or like, did you really have this stuff? And like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of frustrating. You're sitting there like, yeah, I mean, look at this house. Like, yeah, we had a bunch of DVDs, CDs, electronics. Like, I don't know.
And you think they're gonna like, wow, David Caruso's gonna walk in and say something smooth?
No, you just think that they're going to be like, oh, you've paid in $40,000 and you're asking for 10
Oh, the
back.
insurance. I thought you were talking about the police. Pardon me.
And
No,
not
the
only
police were
that,
useless.
it's like, so you have 50 CDs. I'm just making up a number.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, you have 50 CDs. And after,
They're like, each one's $5.
and you're like, no, I have to replace these CDs. So each one is $20.
Yeah.
You don't get to decide that my shit has lost value because it hasn't. It's the same value to me until I have to replace it. And then it's lost value.
And you also, Kamar, you can't like, you're sitting there with an insurance adjuster being like, well, no, like this one CD was limited edition and cost me $50. And they're like, oh, so it's a $5 CD either way. This is insurance. That's not how this works, you know? And then you're like, awesome.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't mention that Adrian has her specials out on Netflix because she's fucking.
Well,
there's no shit about
we're well
insurance.
past her. You didn't mention her forever.
But it's so annoying too. Like just as an example with insurance, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Is that who we're
Let's
on?
move
Her?
No. We're on.
I was trying
Yeah.
to fuck you up.
we're on
gaslight you.
Evan Hafer.
I paid you
right?
back that $400.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Evan Hafer.
Evan Hafer.
When you say Carbonaro fast, it sounds like my cocaine Carbonara.
Did he ask to borrow money so he could buy that car?
I paid it back already. A lot of arrow talking and hunting at the end there. And at one point it goes For people listening, Hank explained the difference between different shards of arrows, and I was like, I don't think anyone's listening.
No, we're
But if you are,
dude. We
good
were
for
all
you.
out after hour 3. 4.5 hours is way
It
too
really
long.
went into
way too long.
self-indulgent.
Yeah, unless they were gonna spend like 3.5 hours talking about buggery. What did you call it, Kamar?
Ass buggery.
Ass buggery.
Afghan ass
buggery.
buggery.
I'm not interested.
Yeah. I
No,
give it-
he had some interesting stories. I mean, he's
The
obviously
one
was
uncle that
in,
could just make gold out of piss or whatever. I wish I had that uncle in my life.
Yeah, that'd
we
be
all
nice.
need one of those. Just living off the land, ready to go.
I give it a 2.
I give it a 2.
I'll hit that button, Maddie.
We have an agreement. All right. If you made it this far, that's a fucking shock. You're incredible. Maybe you're willing to go one step further. We have a Patreon. If you want to support the show, you can do so for as little as $5 a month. Just head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. For that $5, you get the show after the show, or the post show. That's the show we shoot the shit. You'll also get a bunch of old episodes, maybe some new stuff. You get my terrible NFL picks. God, I did bad today. Just awful. That's it. We thank you so much for listening. Thank you to BetterHelp. Thank you to the Patreons, past, present, and future. We hope you have a great week. We hope you enjoy your weekend. And as usual,
Keep your eyes open.